If you could please call roll.
Mr. Corey.
Here.
Mr. Cohen.
Here.
Mr. Hayward.
Here.
Ms. Parlamas.
Here.
Dr. Pucci Bender.
Here.
Ms. Stevenson.
Here.
Mr. Tang.
Here.
Ms. Calvez.
Here.
Dr. Robinson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Ms. Stevenson, are you able to lead us through the flag salute, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of meeting in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, as amended by PL 2025, Chapter 72. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided on March 3rd, 2026 by posting the notice on the Glen Rock Public Schools website where legal notices and advertisements are listed. Mr. Cohen, would you be able to read the mission statement, please?
Yeah, to a full room. The Glen Rock School District, founded on principles of education in partnership with a supportive community, provides an exceptional education to all students to cultivate resilience, responsible, and engaged global citizens.
Thank you. All right, so you're a go.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. It's so great to see so many people here, especially for really great reasons, that we get to celebrate some really successful students and get to celebrate some wonderful staff. And we're just going to get right to it with our Glen Rock Teacher and Education Specialist of the Year Awards. So I'm going to invite up Principal Kelly Hughes from Bird School to present for her school.
Hello. Okay, good. Make the newbie go first. I see you. All right. All right. Good evening, Mr. Van Ness, members of the board, community members, and guests. It is my honor to congratulate Mrs. Lauren Carter on being named Bird's Teacher of the Year. Woo! Counselors play a vital role in shaping a safe, supportive, and successful learning environment, and Mrs. Carter exemplifies that role every single day. She goes above and beyond to meet the diverse needs of both our students and staff. Her commitment to our students is evident in the way she takes the time to truly understand each child, offering guidance, encouragement, and individualized support that helps them navigate challenges and build confidence. Whether she is helping a student manage emotions, resolve conflicts, or access needed resources, she consistently prioritizes what is best for each child. Equally important is her unwavering support for teachers and staff. Her willingness to listen, collaborate, and assist with problem solving makes a meaningful difference in the daily life of our school. When her colleagues describe her, they echo exactly what I see each day: a huge smile, a listening ear, and a sense of calm that helps everyone feel supported. Mrs. Carter is truly the heartbeat of Bird. She is an essential part of how and why our school functions as effectively as it does. Her dedication, compassion, and tireless efforts make her more than deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, Mrs. Carter, on being named Bird's Teacher of the Year.
I can't do the photo. Keith does it.
Now I'd like to invite Central School Principal. Actually, she's not feeling well today, so we have Elementary Supervisor Nicole Hirsch to present for Central School.
Hi, everyone. Mrs. LaCroix couldn't be here tonight, so I will be reading her speech about Mrs. Chrissy Pfeiffer. Come on up, Chrissy. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Mr. Van Nest, and community members. It is my privilege to stand before you tonight to recognize Central School's Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Chrissy Pfeiffer. This memory is Mrs. LaCroix, so imagine I am Mrs. LaCroix. I first met Chrissy 15 years ago on the Welcome to Glen Rock bus tour when we were both beginning our careers in the district. At the time, Chrissy started her journey at Coleman School, and while I knew immediately that she was someone special, I had to wait 10 years before I had the opportunity to work alongside her at Central. Fortunately for all of us, she joined the Central family 5 years ago, and our school has been better ever since. Before coming to New Jersey, Chrissy taught in Pennsylvania for 2 years. She earned her undergraduate degree in elementary education and special education from East Stroudsburg University. She then completed a master's degree in classroom technology from Wilkes University, followed by a second master's degree in educational technology from Ramapo College, which she completed as part of a Glen Rock cohort. Her commitment to lifelong learning and professional growth is reflected in the exceptional educator she is today. Chrissy is the proud mother of 2 wonderful daughters, Nora and Olivia, who are here tonight, and is supported by her husband, Brendan. The same care, dedication, and commitment she brings to her family are evident in the way she serves her students each and every day. Chrissy possesses an extraordinary level of patience and a remarkable understanding of her students. She always places their needs at the center of every decision she makes and consistently demonstrates compassion, dedication, and professionalism. Her students know they are valued, supported, and believed in, and because of that, they thrive. One of Chrissy's greatest strengths is her ability to collaborate. She works closely with colleagues, specialists, support staff, and families to ensure that her students are successful not only in her classroom, but throughout the entire school community. She has a unique ability to bring people together around a common goal and always keeps the best interests of her students at the forefront. Chrissy goes above and beyond for her students. She is flexible, responsive, and tirelessly works to ensure that every child receives the support they need to be successful. She creates a classroom environment that is warm, safe, welcoming, and filled with opportunities for growth. Her ability to effectively meet the needs of diverse learners while managing multiple grade levels is truly impressive. Christy is a trusted colleague, a valued team member, and simply a pleasure to work with. Her positivity, dedication, and unwavering commitment to students make our school a better place every day. Chrissy works incredibly hard for her students, and her impact reaches far beyond the walls of her classroom. We are fortunate to have her as part of the Central School community, and her students are lucky to learn from such an exceptional educator. Please join me in congratulating Central School's Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Chrissy Pfeiffer.
And I'd like to invite Coleman Principal Ed Thompson up.
All righty. Good evening, Mr. Van Ness, Dr. Robinson, Board of Ed members, family, friends, colleagues, Coleman colleagues. This evening, it gives me great pleasure to announce Coleman School's Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Susan Ziza. This award is given annually to a teacher who is creative and innovative in the classroom, employs effective instructional techniques, and develops a love of learning in students. The winner was chosen by their peers as well as parents and myself. Mrs. Ziza has been working here at Coleman School for 17 years as our reading specialist. She continually demonstrates excellence in the classroom and is well respected / loved by her students, peers, parents, and administrators alike. Over the years, she has used multiple approaches and taught hundreds of students to learn to read. Being a reading specialist requires a very unique kind of magic. It takes unmatched patience. It takes the ability to see the specific roadblock holding a child back when no one else can. Mrs. Ziza doesn't just teach phonics or decoding, she builds confidence. 17 years of leveled readers, 17 years of sight words, 17 years of turning I can't into I just did. Mrs. Ziza also serves as a key member on our IRNS team. Starting last year in an effort to assist struggling learners, Mrs. Ziza created and facilitated a program to coordinate Glen Rock High School National Honor Society students to tutor Coleman students. This year, the program expanded to include even more high school students coming to Coleman to assist our struggling learners. Mrs. Ziza had an extremely busy year this year. She and I worked closely together as she pursued her second master's degree, this one in administration. During the year, Mrs. Ziza completed over 300 hours, working alongside me with activities that included the interviewing and selection of new teachers and facilitating the posting of our school activities via social media. She was also invaluable in assisting us in test preparation for the new NJSL AA format. Mrs. Ziza is a proud graduate of Florida State University, where she earned her bachelor's degree. Also holds her first master's degree in reading, both masters from William Patterson. She's here joined tonight by her family, Darla, who is a teacher assistant with us at Coleman, her husband Mark, her mom and dad, her sister Kim. Wonderful, beautiful family. I'll leave you with this one fun fact. Hate to admit this, but a little over 40 years ago, Mrs. Ziza was a cheerful cheerleader on the sidelines of Wayne Valley High School, where a younger version of me played out on that field. All these years later, the roles have now reversed, and she's a key member of our team, and I am her biggest cheerleader and supporter. Please join me in congratulating a phenomenal colleague, an irreplaceable specialist, and our well-deserved Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Susan Ziza.
And now I'd like to invite up Hamilton Principal, Kristen Gomez.
Good evening, Mr. Van Nest, members of the Board of Education, and community members. It is my honor to be here tonight to recognize Mrs. Jessica Falkenstern as Alexander Hamilton School's Teacher of the Year. Jessica has served the students and families of our district for the past 14 years. First as a shared counselor between Hamilton and Coleman schools, and then as Hamilton's dedicated counselor since 2019. Throughout her time here, she has become an essential part of the fabric of our school community and a trusted source of support for students, staff, and families alike. Jessica is one of those rare people who seems to make everything and everyone around her better. She is the person students seek out when they need support, teachers turn to when they need perspective, and administrators partner with when navigating difficult situations. Her steady presence, thoughtful guidance, and ability to bring people together have helped shape the culture of Hamilton in countless ways. One of Jessica's greatest strengths is the deep and genuine relationships she builds with the students of Hamilton. She makes it her mission to know every one of our 285 students, not only academically or behaviorally, but personally. She knows what excites them, what motivates them, what challenges them, and how they connect with others. Her attention to detail and understanding of children is truly remarkable. She has a unique ability to connect with even the most guarded students, helping them feel safe, understood, and valued while always maintaining their trust and dignity. Time and time again, I have watched students walk into her office carrying worries that they were unwilling to share with anyone else, or maybe didn't fully understand themselves. They leave feeling lighter, more confident, and ready to face the day. There is a quiet magic in the way she helps children feel heard and understood, and it is a gift that cannot be taught. Because of this, she continues to leave a lasting impact on the lives of students and families throughout their elementary years. In the recent past, she has also been instrumental in leading the implementation of our school social emotional learning program, Ruler. She has worked closely with administration, staff, student leaders, and teacher teams to ensure that the language, the tools, and the practices of the program are embedded meaningfully into daily school life. Through her leadership, she has helped strengthen our school culture, where emotional intelligence and positive relationships are valued alongside academic growth. Jessica's contributions extend far beyond the traditional responsibilities of a school counselor. She frequently takes on leadership roles within our building, chairs school committees, supports HSA initiatives, serves as a liaison between families and outside providers to ensure our students receive the support they need both in and out of school. Jessica is also the colleague people naturally gravitate toward. Staff members seek her out for advice, perspective, and sometimes simply for reassurance that tomorrow will be a better day. Even in the busiest moments, she somehow finds a way to bring humor, optimism, and humanity into the conversation. Personally, I know I can always count on Jessica to help me find perspective and often a laugh when a challenging day calls for both. Simply put, Jessica makes Hamilton a better place every single day. The nature of being a school counselor means that much of her work happens quietly and behind the scenes, but its impact can be seen everywhere, in the strength of our community and the confident, smiling faces who walk through our doors, and the countless former students who return year after year to visit her. As a principal, there are certain people you cannot imagine your school without. Jessica is one of those people. Her impact extends beyond the counseling office and reaches every corner of our building. Hamilton is a stronger, kinder, more connected place because of her, and we are so incredibly fortunate to call her one of our own. Congratulations, Jessica. Thank you for all that you do for our students, our families, and staff. It is also my honor and privilege to be here tonight to recognize our colleague, Kimberly Castelli, as Hamilton Schools Educational Specialist of the Year. Although Kim served our district for just over 4 years, her impact on our school community feels like that of an entire career. This evening, we honor not only her dedication and service, but also the incredible legacy she left behind at Hamilton. As our school nurse, Kim's role was more than tending to scraped knees, fevers, and daily medications. She cared deeply for children and approached every interaction with patience, empathy, and genuine care. She built meaningful relationships with our students, our families, and colleagues, often spending far more time than anyone would expect, speaking with concerned parents on the phone, reassuring worried students, and communicating with teachers about their class. Kim had a particularly special way with students whose visits to the health office were not about physical symptoms, but about the invisible struggles that children carry with them to school. Worries, difficult mornings, hurt feelings, or simply missing home. While she certainly knew and was wise enough to detect when a student might be making their 4th visit to the health office in the same day, she never dismissed them. Instead, she met each child with understanding, warmth, and sometimes a little humor. Her office became a safe haven for so many students, and her presence provided comfort in ways that cannot be measured. One of the things that made Kim so remarkable was her incredible ability and effort to remember everything. She remembered students' stories about their weekends, often asking them days later how the soccer tournament or the dance recital went. She retained information that parents shared with her in confidence about their child's history, and making sure that the next time she spoke with them, she asked them and used that as a springboard for communication. She also remembered the silly, unimportant things too. On a particularly memorable Monday morning, I walked into my office to find a package of a very specific and very obscure cracker that I had told her I liked. I remember smiling as I realized that it was from Kim, and she had remembered my favorite treat. That's who she was. She was able to connect with everyone and make people feel loved because she listened and genuinely cared. Students trusted her, families counted on her, colleagues turned to her. No matter how busy she was or how many reminder Post-its she had stuck to her body, and sometimes there were a lot, or timers that were buzzing to remind her to give someone their medicine, Kim always had the time for everyone. That is really just the tip of the iceberg. Kim at work was just a small piece of who she was. She was a beloved mother, daughter, sister, friend, and more. She made every community she was part of stronger simply by being herself. Kim was more than our school nurse. She was part of the heart of Hamilton. Her warmth and genuine spirit helped shape our school in a way that won't be forgotten. Her loss has been deeply felt by students, families, and staff, and Hamilton could not miss her more. Tonight, we are grateful to be joined by Kim's husband, Brian, and her oldest daughter, Olivia, who are here to accept this award on her behalf. We hope they know how profoundly Kim impacted our school community and how deeply she continues to be loved and remembered. On behalf of Team Hamilton, thank you, Kim, for the difference you made in the lives of so many here in Glen Rock. Your legacy lives on in the relationships you built, the comfort you provided, and the countless children and families whose lives are better because of you. We will carry your memory with us always. Congratulations to the Castelli family.
Now I'd like to invite the middle and high school principal, Michelle Gelando.
Mr. Van Nest, Mr. Canellis, members of the Board of Education, I appreciate being invited tonight to talk about the incredible educators at the middle school and the high school. Lisa Limongelli is an exceptional educator whose dedication to her profession and craft is truly remarkable. Beyond having a deep expertise in her content area, Lisa has a deep love for her content area, and more importantly, for her students. And the classroom environment she cultivates is a beautiful reflection of both profound knowledge and affection. Lisa writes alongside her 7th graders every day, and in doing so, she is modeling not only writing skills, but vulnerability, thoughtfulness, and attention to craft as well. This practice is an invaluable experience for her students, both as budding authors and as young people. She consistently challenges every child who walks through her door to meet high standards and expectations, while always giving them the tools to meet those expectations and ensuring that the students themselves believe in their own capacities and capabilities. For the last 22 years, GRMS students have had the privilege of learning from Lisa. Her colleagues, too, have benefited from her collaboration, insight, and friendship. Her unique ability to demystify the writing process helps her create engaging, meaningful workshops every single day. Lisa welcomes each student at the door with a warm smile, immediately creating a positive and inviting classroom environment. Lisa Limongelli is incredibly deserving of this recognition and is a tremendous asset to the Glen Rock Middle School community. We thank her for sharing her talents with us. For the past 10 years, Anna Lilikis has been a driving force behind the success and growth of the Glen Rock Music Program. She teaches orchestra, choir, and general music while creating meaningful opportunities for students to perform, grow, and connect through music. Anna directs 4 major concerts each year and plays a key role in the school's annual musical, where she choreographs and designs costumes. She also leads choir competition trips across the country, traveling with 50 to 75 students to competitions in locations such as California, Nashville, Florida, and Virginia, where Glen Rock students consistently place and represent their district with pride. Beyond the classroom, Anna dedicates countless hours to enriching the student experience. She organizes 3 select evening choirs, advises the Tri-M Music Honor Society as a volunteer, and mentors students participating in Bergen County, regional, and all-state ensembles. She was also specially selected to conduct the Bergen County Choir this past January. Anna creates meaningful connections between the school and the community by organizing student performances at the town's 9/11 tribute and graduation ceremonies, as well as cabaret night and karaoke night, which are popular events that give students additional performance opportunities. She also advises Sharing the Arts, a program that pairs high school students with disabilities to collaborate on a musical production. In addition to her work in music, Anna served the community for 6 years as the freshman volleyball coach, further demonstrating her dedication to supporting students in multiple areas of school life. Through her dedication, leadership, and passion for education, Anna Lilikis has made a lasting impact on her students at the Glen Rock community. She is highly deserving of recognition as Teacher of the Year, and we are incredibly grateful that she is a member of our educational community. Kaylee Batelli exemplifies what it means to be an outstanding educational specialist. As a wellness counselor, she consistently goes above and beyond to support the academic, emotional, and social well-being of students at GRMS and GRHS. Kelly creates a safe, welcoming environment where students feel heard, respected, and empowered to work through challenges. Her ability to build strong, trusting relationships allows students to open up and develop the skills they need to succeed both in and out of the classroom. Kaylee approaches her work with compassion, professionalism, and a deep understanding of the diverse needs of adolescents. She collaborates closely with teachers, administrators, and families to ensure students receive the support and resources necessary to thrive. Whether she is guiding a student through a difficult moment, leading wellness initiatives, or advocating for mental health awareness within the school community, Kaylee demonstrates an unwavering dedication to the whole child. What truly sets Kaylee apart is her proactive commitment to creating a culture of wellness at GRMS and GRHS. She develops programs and strategies that help students build resilience, manage stress, and develop positive coping skills that will benefit them throughout their lives. Her presence has a meaningful and lasting impact on the school community, strengthening the support systems that help students feel safe, connected, and capable. For her compassion, leadership, and tireless dedication to student wellness, Kaylee Batelli is truly a deserving candidate for the Educational Specialist of the Year for the middle school and high school. Her work continues to positively shape the lives of students and to contribute to a healthier, more supportive school environment. And we look forward to all the amazing contributions we know she will make in the years to come.
Could we please have all the award recipients come up for one big picture? We would now like to recognize staff members that have served the Glen Rock community for 25 years. To help me present them, I'm going to invite Ms. Lisa Tomaselli up. She's the GREA president. Or you want to read them and I'll hand them out? You read all.
Okay. I like facing this way. Hi, I'm Lisa Tomaselli, the GREA president and Hamilton School librarian. So we're going to congratulate everybody here who's worked over 25 years. Our first teacher is Carrie Holmgren. Not here. Okay. James Kurz. Obviously, he got invited to the same party as Carrie. I think Kathleen Mitchell, she's at a workshop, right? I believe so. Yeah, she's not here either. She went to the same party. Kathleen Mitchell. Diane Carpenter. Come on up, we got a special certificate for you. Give a hand to Diane, who didn't get to the same party as the other people. Elizabeth Wanagale. Lisa Brown. Thank you. Kenneth Kavanaugh. Anthony Cece. Thank you. Vanessa Hurley. Christopher Kelly. Stephanie Nerney. And Sue Stevens. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Mr. Paul Cusack forward. He's going to present a couple things here as well.
Good evening, Mr. Van Ness, Mr. Canellis, members of the board. School community, we've talked a lot about teachers and all the great things that they've done. I get to do a great part because I get to recognize students and all their accomplishments and all the great things that they do, integrating what they learn in the classroom into extracurricular activities and different assessments and things that they take. So at this time, I would like to call up the members of the Galactic Pigeons, the Cosmic Goose, and their two coaches, I think both are here, Timothy Murray and Mr. Robert Locketel. Should I say one more? So we have an interactive presentation where you'll get to see the robots in action while Mr. Locketel and Mr. Murray talk about what the students have done. Mr. Van Ness and Dr. Robinson, please be careful in case one does launch over the top there. We don't want anyone getting hit. In the last 5 years, the robotics program has exploded. I think at largest, we've had over 50 students between two teams. We added a second team. And both teams have been dominant forces in the state competing. So they've done an excellent job. Every year it's a different competition. They start August, July, September, August, working 5 days a week, sometimes on weekends for long hours, and competing and representing Glen Rock to the best of their ability. So I'm going to turn it over to the coaches now and let them talk a little bit about the program.
All right, Goose and Pigeon, do your thing. So as Mr. Cusack said, my name is Robert Locketel, and I am the head coach of the Galactic Pigeon and the Cosmic Goose, Team 23314 and Team 8902. Now, to reiterate some of the things that Mr. Cusack said, every single year these folks get a brand new competition, and this year is no different. So in September, all these students get together and start designing robots from scratch. Unlike any type of academic or athletic competition, it's completely unique. And as you can see right here, this year's competition was all about taking these 5-inch wiffle ball-esque elements, bringing them into the robot and firing them at a goal. This is actually only 2/3 of the actual fields too. So keep in mind that it would be much bigger, much faster, and 4 robots moving at the same time, not 2, since it's 2v2. Now, I always love being able to bring my robotics teams to this event because the uninitiated have no idea what competitive robotics might look like. And being able to give you a unique look at what we do over the course of so many different months, an extremely long season stretching from the first weekend in September to the middle week of March, it's truly a grueling task, but these students are up for it. Now, I am so proud to report that both of these teams had incredible seasons and continue to show why Glen Rock has become one of the biggest names in robotics in North Jersey. In fact, we weren't even able to actually be here last year because we had qualified, since the Cosmic Goose did so incredible at the state championship and placed second. We qualified to go to Monterrey, Mexico, and participate in an international competition against teams from countries such as Venezuela, Brazil, Mexico, and the US. And the Cosmic Goose brought home second in that competition as well as being recognized for their incredible work in community outreach. And that doesn't just extend from North Jersey, that's international recognition. Yeah. To that effect, these last 2 years, these teams have done an incredible work. And just to name a few outreach events that these two teams have done in the last year, we went to a conference for administrators. It's difficult to talk over the robots sometimes. For administrators in education in Texpo. We went to Atlantic City and actually presented to administrators. So that was amazing. We started our own first LEGO League team in partnership with Waldwick and supported them through their endeavors. We partnered with 2 professional sports organizations, the New Jersey Devils and Gotham FC, the women's professional football club in Harrison, New Jersey, went to their events, went to games at their arenas, and interacted with thousands of different fans with a similar setup that you see here, getting kids and adults alike interested in STEM education. And finally, these students started an incredible initiative this year, sent robotics kits to Kenya. And every single Saturday morning while we were or at least me, I can't speak to you, but at 7:30 in the morning, these students signed onto Zoom and taught educators in an all-girls school in Kenya how to perform a robotics curriculum. And they did this over the course of several months. Now I want to talk about the Orange team, the Pigeons' success this season, since we talked a little bit about the Goose and their success as well. There are 8,835 robotics teams in this competition worldwide. 8,835. This season, average, the Galactic Pigeon was in the 98.56 percentile of all those 8,835 teams for their autonomous control over their robot. They were ranked 120th. And that is an average across the entire season. That's just not one event. The average of the entire season played out like that. They also won the prestigious Inspire Award at our home event in February. Finally, both teams qualified for the state championship out of the over 200 teams in the state of New Jersey for the 3rd year in a row. The work of these students show how consistently dominant Glen Rock has become with robotics over the course of the last several years. And it has been my honor to see them grow as both students, but also, honestly, members of their community, inspiring each other and going above and beyond the call to action in order to do incredible things that I couldn't have ever even dreamed of in my wildest imagination. And while I will be taking a backseat at the end of this season, I will miss working with these incredibly hardworking students as I step down. But I will always be so immensely proud of their incredible hard work. These last 5 years of coaching have been a privilege. It has been the best job I could have ever imagined. And I thank you, board members, to allow me to get to celebrate them in such an event, because they deserve this and so much more. I would especially like to recognize the team captains and officers, since folks in our Schoology group, we have 128 active members, of which this is just a small collection, but special accommodation should go to the captains of 8902, Tamara Inbar, Joseph Yu, Sarah Quiros, and officers, Kakuru Haraguchi, Noreen Chu, Dima Series, and Tanvi Mehta. For captains of 23314, we have Miguel Acera, Dylan Lee, Caitlin Kim, and Selena Fung. And for officers of the Galactic Pigeon, I'd like to recognize John Kalar, Aditya Yuvaraj, Andrew Kim, Siddhant Ike, and Brian Youngberg. I thank you so much for this time. I hope not too many people got hit by those flying balls, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Mr. Lockton.
Picture first. Pigeon on my right, pigeon on my left.
Thank you so much to the robotics team. That's always fun to see their machines working. When recognizing our staff that have served for 25 years, we accidentally skipped somebody, and I apologize for that. Tracy Tellis is also on the list for 25 years.
I have one more presentation. Every year, our students take the National Latin Exam. Students from 8th grade to 12th grade take it in beginning of April, March? April, beginning of March, okay. They take it in March, and we are here to recognize some of our students tonight. I'm going to ask Ms. Caitlin Moline, who is our high school Latin teacher, to come up, just talk a little bit about the test, and then I think some of our students are here, so we're going to recognize them as well. So Ms. Caitlin Moline, please.
Good evening, hello. Latin does not have an interactive presentation, I'm sorry. But next year I'll have them make a replica of an erupting Vesuvius or something for you all. Anyway, the National Latin Exam is a 40-question multiple choice exam that tests students on their knowledge of Latin vocabulary and grammar, as well as Roman history and culture. Over 100,000 students take this exam in March every year, not only in the United States, but in countries all over the world. Students have the opportunity to win certificates and medals based on their performance. Gold medals generally indicate that students received at least 37 out of 40 points. Silver medals indicate students received at least 35 points. Magna cum laude is at least 33 points, and cum laude is at least 31 points. Students who win gold medals 3 years in a row also win a Latin book, which might be the nerdiest award to ever exist. And I don't mean that in a detrimental way, it's just an objective fact. One of our AP students, Dhruv Sahu, won that award this year. Hold up your book, Dhruv. And I was quite jealous. I thought the book was for me because it was in my mailbox and it was addressed to me, but it was also addressed to Dhruv. In addition, students who win gold medals on advanced level exams are eligible for scholarships that are worth up to $2,000. But we don't try to do well on the National Latin Exam just for the awards. We do well for the sake of glory in conquering an incredibly difficult and dead language. Thank you. So I have a list of our students who have won awards. In grade 8, our gold medalists were Adam Yampolsky, Yoonho Nam, Kira Short, Ellis Cole, Hesop Shim, Julia Johnston, Sahidya Kumar, and Rishan Gupta. Our silver medalists were Jonah Rothenberg and Charita Iyer. In Latin 2, we have golden medalists Pablo Quiroz, 1 away from a perfect score, and Madison Choi. Our silver medal went to Eva Pittman. Magna cum laude was Caden Foley. And cum laude winners were Kian Harley, Ashvin Krishnan, and Jackson Rowe. In Latin 3, we had a magna cum laude winner, Victoria Johnston. In Latin 4, we had a magna cum laude winner, Gautam Krishnan. AP Latin, our gold medal winner was Dhruv Sahu. Our magna cum laude winner was Guang Sop Shim. And our cum laude winner was Teresa Sapienza. Thank you.
If your name was called, please come up for a group picture. Thank you.
Now, we always welcome parents and students to stay for the whole meeting because we have interesting things happening, but also we understand you might have other things for your evening, so if you want to slip out, now would be a really excellent time to do so. Next, I'd like to invite up for a presentation for the board Nicole Hirsch, Kristen Gomez, and Ed Thompson. One of the goals, as you know from the board, that we were looking at this year is our Gifted and Talented program and making sure that we're serving our students the best way that we can. So I'll let them talk about the process and what they looked at this year and their recommendations for moving forward and where we're going. So take it away, Ms. Hirsch.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. For those of you I don't know, I'm Nicole Hirsch. I'm the supervisor of elementary education, K-8 Gifted and Talented, and K-5 Media Center. I'm here tonight with Mr. Thompson, principal of Coleman School, and Mrs. Gomez, principal of Hamilton School. And we are representatives of a much larger team of educators who have been working together this year to really review the Gifted and Talented program and identification process here in Glen Rock. Tonight's presentation will give you an overview of our goals and timeline for reviewing G&T across the district. We'll also give you an overview of what it means for students to be identified as gifted and require services. And finally, we'll share the improvements we'd like to make to our identification process this year or next year. Our overall goal as we review Gifted and Talented in Glen Rock is to look at our policies, programming, and identification procedures to ensure we're serving students in a manner that's inclusive and builds on their strengths. We want to think about matching students to appropriate services, ensuring that gifted is a description of need, not a label of status. With that in mind, our focus this year has been on creating a comprehensive identification process that captures diverse manifestations of giftedness. This will allow us to enhance equitable access and remove barriers to service for underrepresented populations. A lot of thought, time, and effort has been put into making sure we're making informed decisions based on best practices. This year has been a year of learning. As a new supervisor, I've focused on getting a really good understanding of what's working and areas in need of improvement. I've spent time in the G&T classrooms collaborating with and planning with the G&T teachers, observing the many facets of their roles like library enrichment, tech enrichment, in addition to library media center. I've also been in contact with other Bergen County districts like Ridgewood and Fairlawn through participation in the Bergen County Consortium of Teachers of Gifted, also known as BCCTG. Several of Glen Rock's G&T teachers have been able to participate in these BCCTG meetings as well. I've also participated in the New Jersey Association of Gifted Children's Administrators Network monthly meetings and webinars about best practices in G&T identification and programming, sponsored by the New Jersey Principal and Supervisors Association and Legal One, both of which have given insights into best practices in G&T and the intersection of these practices with the Strengthening the Gifted and Talented Act, which is the New Jersey law surrounding the teaching of gifted students. Two of our district's gifted and talented teachers and I also attended the NJAGC conference in April, which provided us with lots of information and ideas to turnkey to the other G&T teachers. This spring, we began diving into really using all of this information to review and improve our identification process. I've held G&T committee meetings, which consisted of all the G&T teachers, some of whom are here today, principals, the director of special services, and general education teachers who have had backgrounds as G&T teachers and coordinators. During our meetings, we've been able to review best practices and the law and make recommendations for ways we can improve our identification criteria. We'll share those updates in a little bit. Our goal for the summer is to finalize these changes so that they can be implemented for the 26-27 school year, and then next year we'll take a closer look at our curriculum and programming. Before we can dive into the changes we'd like to implement, it's important that we have a shared understanding of what giftedness is. One place we can look to for a definition of giftedness is the New Jersey Department of Education's legal definition in administrative code. It states, a gifted and talented student means a student who possesses or demonstrates a high level of ability in one or more content areas when compared to his chronological peers in the local school district, and who requires modifications of his educational programming if he is to achieve in accordance with his capabilities. If we break down this definition, it gives us some guidelines about who we need to be looking for when we cast our net to search for students who are in need of gifted services. First, it states possess or demonstrates high levels of ability. This could be demonstrated performance in the classroom, or the possess part of the definition means that we're looking for potential in students who may encounter barriers to demonstrating advanced performance. If we continue reading, we see in one or more content areas. This means that students do not need to be gifted or advanced across subject lines. When compared to their chronological peers in the local district means that we have to use local norms. As a high-achieving district, our local norms are quite high, and we'll talk more about this later. And that final part, who require modification of their educational program if they are to achieve in accordance with their capabilities, means that we're identifying students who require services beyond the classroom curriculum.
When we look at the bell curve of exceptional learners, we see that the needs of students requiring gifted services fall just as far from the norm as the needs of students who require special education and related services. Some gifted students are on both ends of that spectrum, compounding their unique social and emotional needs. When students fall on both ends of the spectrum, we call them twice exceptional, or 2E. In Glen Rock, the bell curve is typically shifted higher, which means the norm tends to fall higher. What does gifted look like? One of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to students in need of gifted services is thinking that giftedness is a label of status and high achievement. While the brains of gifted students are quite exquisite and operate in ways many of us cannot comprehend, being gifted also comes with its own unique set of challenges. Giftedness is about how students think, not simply how much they know. With these types of learners, we often see asynchronous development. Oftentimes this means their academic strengths may not align with social emotional maturity. So for example, you might come across a third grader who reads, writes, and speaks at a collegiate level, but has the social emotional maturity of a kindergartner. This can lead to adults expecting more of them because, after all, they speak like they're an adult. But this mismatch and high expectations can often lead to things like perfectionism and frustration. One of the things the research shows supports students identified as gifted with this asynchronous development is opportunities to collaborate with like-minded peers and opportunities for challenges in a safe and supportive environment where students can experience mistakes in a low-stakes way. This is why gifted programs are so crucial and why it's important to make sure we are accurately identifying students in need of gifted and talented services and reframing the way we think about gifted and talented. It's important to think of identification as matching students to services that help support their needs.
High-achieving students often succeed within the structure of school. Students in need of gifted services may challenge structure, appear inconsistent, or disengage. This explains why not all high performers qualify for gifted services. Here are some additional common characteristics of students in need of gifted services. Not all of these learners show all of these traits, and characteristics may appear inconsistently depending on task, environment, and engagement. Now that we have a little bit of context about the needs of students who require gifted services, we're going to take a look at the improvements we'd like to implement to the ways in which we match students to G&T services.
So This slide outlines our current identification process that's been used historically in Glen Rock. The current process begins with pre-screening. Data is collected by teachers and referrals are completed by parents or teachers. The process then continues to a gifted and talented education committee meeting, which reviews multi-criteria data, including referral forms, behavioral rating scales of G&T students, state standardized tests, and student portfolio benchmark assessments. All data is reviewed and scored using a matrix. The student's matrix score determines whether or not the student continues to phase 3, which is testing. In phase 3, students who advance would be given a standardized aptitude test. We use the COGAT. Their composite score on this assessment, along with their previous matrix score, is currently what determines eligibility for pull-out enrichment services. We are proposing a shift to universal screening using the COGAT for all students in grades 2 and 4. Historically, many districts relied on teacher or parent referrals to start the process. However, universal screening at key grade levels means every student in those grade levels is automatically evaluated. The use of a universal screener as one of the many criteria of an identification process ensures that no students are overlooked as potential candidates. For grade 2, we'll use paper and pencil, and for grade 4, the assessment will be online to allow for immediate data analysis. We chose grades 2 and 4 because we feel they are crucial years as the transitions between primary grades and upper elementary. Why is this important? It removes the referral barrier, making our process more inclusive for underrepresented groups who may not typically be nominated. Potential versus performance. The COGAT is the #1 nationally recognized universal screener. It measures cognitive reasoning rather than just academic achievement, helping us identify students who possess high ability even if they aren't yet demonstrating it through classroom grades. Identifying specific strengths. By looking at subtest scores, verbal, quantitative, nonverbal, instead of just the overall composite, we can identify students who possess strengths in a specific area, such as math, even if their verbal scores are average. We'll do this for all grade levels COGAT results, not just the ones that are universally screened. The use of a universal screener also serves as a formal reevaluation period. It ensures that the students currently in the program still require these specific modifications to achieve their full potential. For next year, since we're establishing norms, we will not use the universal screener as a reevaluation period, but in subsequent years, the universal screener will also serve that purpose, just like we do when we reevaluate students for special education and related services. This allows us to make sure we're meeting the current needs of our students. By testing in October, we can establish local norms, which means comparing our students against their Glen Rock peers, not against national norms, well before the formal evaluation window opens in the winter. We also want to emphasize that the use of a universal screener is just one step of a state-required multi-criteria identification process.
We are also proposing moving to one referral window per year. This allows us to collect more data and paint a more clear picture of student progress. We propose that the referral window for each year run from December 15th through January 15th for students in grades 1 through 8. This will allow a full marking period of progress, time for parent-teacher conferences, and time for teachers to collect as much information on students who are on our radar as possible. The one referral window will allow the gifted and talented teachers more time to better service the students who are currently in the program, as the referral windows currently require a significant time commitment for the teachers and the supervisor. This also gives more time to determine local norms and utilize the COGAT screening data. As you can see from the chart, one referral window is the typical model for most Bergen County school districts. For kindergarten students, we'll move the referral window to February so that it happens after the kindergarten report card, which is different for the rest of the elementary students. And we will know more information by that time of the year. Other improvements that we propose to make include improving our parent input collection form. We recognize that parents often have a different view of their students than we may see in school and in classrooms. We'd like to provide parents with an opportunity to provide input about signs of giftedness via a Google form, similar to what we currently already use for our INRS process.
This slide summarizes the changes for next year. For grades K1, 3, 5, and 6 through 8, as Mrs. Gomez just said, we're updating the parent referral form to provide us with more information, recognizing that parents offer unique insights and perspectives about their children. This will be similar to the process we follow for INRS parent information. For these grade levels, we'll still be administering the COGAT to students who advance on the matrix, but instead of focusing only on composite scores, student subtest data will be taken into consideration. This allows us to look for relative areas of strength. For grades 2 and 4, starting next year, we'll be administering universal screening, which means all students in those grades will be evaluated for services. This takes away the referral barrier and helps us make sure that we aren't missing students who should be tested. In Phase 2 for those grades, we'd collect additional data as part of our multi-criteria matrix, and Phase 3 would be committee meetings to determine eligibility using all relevant data. Our next steps for G&T work include summer curriculum work with the G&T teachers to finalize the matrices and related resources for identification. Then we'll review Board Regulation 2464 to make sure the eligibility window is up to date and to see if we'd need to add additional information about the use of a universal screener. Finally, I'd like to have some sort of parent information session in the fall, most likely for parents of students in grades 2 and 4 to inform them about the use of a universal screener. That concludes our presentation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of work that went into this, both with you and as leaders and also the committees and the teachers and such that put a lot of time into this. I really appreciate your work.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, I guess thank you very much for putting that presentation together and providing that information, and I'm sure it's going to be very valuable in the fall when we have that information session so that parents can get acclimated to the new process. That's it. All right.
So I will be really brief with my CSA report because it's already fairly late. This is the in some ways fun time, in some ways hard time of the year. So we have a lot of activities going on and that people look forward to, but it's also a lot of work to put on. We just had prom last week and I hear it went really well, and I want to thank the students for such great behavior and having a good time responsibly, and to the senior class advisors who I hear did a flawless job putting it all together, and really appreciate all the hard work that they did with that. Tomorrow I get to go to the valedictorian breakfast, which is to honor our valedictorian and all of the valedictorians of the county. That's always very exciting. I went to the Teacher of the Year luncheon last week, and what I didn't say when all the Teachers of the Year were here, we had the most well-behaved table. It was really kind of surprising how much other folks talked over the speakers. And our table, I mean, this is the best of the best. So it was really nice. But it was a nice luncheon there too. We have our senior awards this Wednesday. We have the 5th grade moving up ceremonies, the middle school, high school graduation, all sorts of good stuff that's happening that we're excited for, that people have been looking forward to for months and years. But I also want to thank all of the folks behind the scene that are putting a lot of work into making it happen smoothly. It doesn't just happen on its own. That concludes my report.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so we'll have our first public comments section. This is for board action items only. Again, just action items only. Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I'm going to give the same bit that I gave to the parents and students earlier for my administrators that are here. By all means, now is a really good time to slip out and go get dinner with your family or something. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
All right. So again, this is our first of 2 public comments sections. This is for action items only. You'll be able to state your name and your address, and you'll have 3 minutes, at which point you'll hear a gentle alarm that just lets you know if you could please wrap up your comments, and that's much appreciated. Thank you. And we're open at 8:27.
Could you, yeah.
Yes, I did. My name is Brian Jackson, former Glen Rock resident, graduated from Central School in 1963. Don't try to do the math. The junior high in 66, the high school in 1969. And I'm wearing a Rock football hat tonight in honor of Al Diet, who was a great coach, and I was manager of the football team when he was the coach. I'd like to recognize and congratulate all of those who were recognized tonight for the contributions to the school system. And it reminded me that Glen Rock has always been a special place and recognized people who have made significant contributions to both the school and the town. And tonight I'm hoping that the board will make one more recognition of someone who made some great contributions, and that of course is Thomas Hawkins, in adding his name to Central School. After the board's initial vote of approval, I posted that news on several Facebook groups that are related to Glen Rock. And within 2 days, there were 600 positive responses to that. Then the initial survey we took got over 1,000 positive responses. So I think we know that there has been a lot of support for this. I did not have the opportunity to come to your last meeting, but I did watch the entire meeting on YouTube after it was posted. And there were a couple of takeaways that I got from that. First was that the school board recognized the support for this proposal, and that you had mentioned the overwhelming positive comments that you received in emails. The second thing that was made, the point was made that the board has an opportunity now to recognize and honor this man. It's not something that, would be a year from now or whenever. You have the opportunity to do it and actually do it tonight. And the last point I'd like to make is that in watching the school board meeting, I noted that every one of you on the board spoke in favor of Thomas Hawkins being recognized and honored. There was some debate as to how best to do that, but everyone on the board that I saw felt that he should be recognized and honored. And tonight you have the opportunity to do that. And I would hope that you would do that unanimously, as your comments were unanimous during your last meeting. And I will close by saying that I think we brought this to the board for the first time on February 24th of last year, which happened to be my birthday. And so I'd really appreciate it if you give me one of the best presents I've ever gotten for a birthday. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for putting together the process that you've so diligently worked at to gather public information and to make your decision. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Hello. I wish I had such a great moniker as Galactic Pigeons, but alas, I'm just Sue Triforis, 11 Forest Road in Glen Rock, and I'll be very brief tonight, I promise, just a few sentences. I want to encourage everybody to vote yes tonight on adding Thomas L. Hawkins' name to Central School, because Thomas Hawkins is deserving of this honor, because Glen Rock is deserving of a hometown hero, and because Central School has earned the respect due to it for the quality of education it has traditionally instilled in its students, including Thomas L. Hawkins. And I can happily imagine the pride and joy of future Central School families and children as they learn about the character and sacrifice of Flight Officer Hawkins, especially when they wear their Central School shirts enhanced with his name on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Jo Dervis, 41 Cedar Street, Glen Rock. I want to thank the board members who supported the motion to add the name Thomas L. Hawkins to Central School. A true hero and a Central School graduate. In the survey taken, the majority of the residents of Glen Rock voted to add his name to Central School. It is my hope this will be approved tonight and we can all walk away feeling extremely proud of voting yes for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jane Steuerwald, 57 DeYoung Road, Glen Rock, New Jersey. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I want to thank the Board of Ed for your thoughtful vote 2 weeks ago to rename Central School as Thomas L. Hawkins Central School. This decision is about more than a name. It's about empathy. The willingness to see ourselves in the lives of those who came before us and to recognize contributions that may have gone unacknowledged for too long. Thomas Lawson Hawkins was a son of Glen Rock. He attended Central School, he excelled in academics, athletics, and music, and dreamed of becoming a podiatrist. But when his country called during World War II, he set those plans aside, and he enlisted in the Army Air Forces, becoming one of the courageous Tuskegee Airmen. He ultimately gave his life in service to our nation. By adding Thomas Hawkins' name to Central School, we are not replacing history, we are enriching it. The school's proud identity remains intact while also honoring a remarkable young man whose character, achievement, and sacrifice embody the very values that we hope to instill in further generations. Every child who walks through those doors will now have the opportunity to ask, who was Thomas Hawkins? And in answering that question, they'll learn about courage, service, perseverance, and sacrifice. They will learn that heroes can come from their own hometown, their own streets, and even their own school. And that may be the most meaningful lesson of all. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Cole, 57 DeYoung Road. First, I think it's at least 10 years since I first came before a Board of Education and suggested this idea. None of you were up here then, and it didn't go anywhere. And I'm not here to restate that. You all have heard my position. You all know what I think on the subject. I'm here to thank you because you engaged. You embraced the challenge, no matter which way you vote. And I want you all to know that I respect and am grateful that you addressed this issue and embraced it sincerely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Weta Harding. I'm from the Broad Street side of the Glen Rock. Let me tell you something. I know I only have 3 minutes, but I'm going to make good use of it. When John and Brian reached out to me about Thomas Hawkins, Airman Hawkins, who is he? I never heard of him before. The only Hawkins I knew was Mrs. Hawkins because we played in front of her house just about every day, and she was the first one to get on us if we were ever in trouble. To hear about him, I I sat down there through all the awards trying to rehearse what I was going to say, but it's not coming out the way that I wanted to because my heart is full. Thank you so much for embracing someone that I look like. Now, Glen Rock has been a good foundation for me. Because of Glen Rock, I'm that 12-year-old girl that, if you look in the archives, that represented Central School at the 64-65 World's Fair. I'm that young lady that helped Whitney Houston's mother, Cissy Houston, get her first Grammy Award. Why? Because Glen Rock saw enough in me, even to the point where the Glen Rock Women's Club financed my music lessons after Miss Whitehouse said, I can't, she's too advanced for me. I need to hand her over to someone else. I also want you to know that I just want one more thing to brag about. Because of Glen Rock, I've been to Moscow, I've been to Germany, I've been to Berlin, I've been to Japan, and this year I was asked to help build a school in Ghana, West Africa. Oh, by the way, I was asked to go to France just to play the Lord's Prayer. Who does that? And then some Korean students came to talk with me. Well, where do you get the magic in your music? It started in Glen Rock. So thank you so much. I just want one more thing to brag about. God bless you.
Thank you.
Can I add one thing? Weta came here from Detroit to attend this meeting today.
Thank
She's going back for it.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bob Shoemaker. I live at 54 Waldron. As I said a couple of weeks ago, my two children attended Central, and they're both very much in favor of renaming it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Staff Sergeant Retired Walter A. Harding. I couldn't let my sister have all the fun. I am a product of Glen Rock, a graduating class of 76. This is our 50th year. And it would really be nice to add this man's name to the school and be able to discuss it at the reunion this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Crystal Thorne. I'm from 38 Valley in Glen Rock. I am also for Thomas L. Hawkins being added to the name Central School, even though I wouldn't mind not having Central School, but I am in favor of that. I am from the last class of, sixth grade class of Central School, along with Ms. Triforce's son, Evan. Yes, so I'm for it. Thank you so much. I would truly appreciate it if you were to have his name on there as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other members of the public that have a comment on any action items? All right, seeing no additional requests for comments, we'll close our first public comments section at 8:42 and then move on to our agenda. So for personnel, I need a motion to approve resolutions P1 through P4. Mr. Corey, seconded by Mr. Hayward. Any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Cohen.
So given that districts around us are looking to cut costs and tax are increasing, and we've seen the council and others looking to reduce costs for the school, I cannot support hiring a replacement in a higher salary bracket than somebody and increasing the admin cost. So I'm going to vote no on P3.
Any other questions or comments? Yes.
I just want to comment on P2. Mrs. O'Hearn, who was retiring, I believe she said in her letter, she was with our district for 41 years. I just wish her a long, happy, healthy retirement. I thank her for her years of dedication to our school system.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I was going to say the same. 41 years and worked for 7 different principals in the high school, and we appreciate her service.
Wow. Thank you. All right. If you can call roll, please. Or, yeah.
Mr. Cohen,
No for 3, yes for everything else.
Mr. Corey,
Yes.
Mr. Hayward,
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas,
Yes.
Dr. Pucci Bender.
Yes to everything. I am, without any reference to the individual in P3, I am going to abstain on P3 and yes to the others.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Tang,
Yes.
Ms. Calvez,
Yes.
Dr. Robinson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to general with policy and the Strauss-Esme policy alert.
Sorry, lost my spot. Strauss-Esme policy alert. So we, as you know, Strauss-Esme sends us updates on policies every, whenever they do. It's no rhyme and reason when it comes. We got another one last week, so we'll move forward with that. Nothing is incredibly urgent that we have to do right away, but we're looking to the board as far as guidance with the policy committee and how we want to get that moving forward. Because typically, my assistant works through it, we share it with the whole board, we have conversations, but I'm not sure how you want to proceed this time around as you're moving to the committee structure.
All right. I think as we move into the governance portion with committee structure, I think we should just incorporate that conversation.
That conversation? Okay.
Yeah.
That's about 2 bullets from now, so
Yeah.
perfect. The second thing with Strauss is that they we're holding off on what we're going to do as far as our cell phone policy because we still haven't gotten clarity from the state. They said one thing, then they said another. If the one thing is as strict as it sounded like it was going to be, we're going to have to go with something like pouches or some way to secure the phones because it's actually bell to bell. If the other that they said is a little bit more fluid, we can do a more, lack of better terms, more aggressive version of what we have now, which is forbidding phone use during the school day without having to go the route of pouches. We're still waiting on clarity on that. So we're still in a holding pattern. I hope that they will make up their mind. I think it's going to probably land on option A if I were to guess, but we're still waiting to hear from them. Yeah.
This is a new policy that was signed in by Governor Murphy before he
Yeah,
left. So do they have a date when this has to be done by?
Well, no, September is when it's supposed to be implemented, so
But
one
they
would
have,
hope.
the state is holding this and
Yes.
this up, okay.
Yep. Okay. And that leads us to, you wanted a conversation about committee structure, so here we
Yes.
are.
All right, so I'm just pulling up the document that is in our board files. So some time ago, I'd asked for just general feedback as to how, how do we want our policy, how do we want our committee structure to go? Some months ago, we discussed like the variety of committees that we would want to have and whether or not we wanted to extend them. And I really just want to formalize that process. There are certain aspects of it that, yes, it's going to be on the board president to determine, who is going to be on maybe specific committees that will be determined every year. However, I think as a board, we should be deciding, now that we're making this change back to committees, what that looks like and what that process looks like. So I'm requiring that level of input. I do have a document in backup. Let me see, the committee method of operation, and it talks about just generally, and again, thank you, Mr. Canales, for helping to pull this together. It talks about just the framework for the committees, just kind of like think about it as an operations document. framework for committees, like how we would report. We're talking about meeting, twice a month. The first meeting would be, a slew of committee meetings. The second meeting of the month would be where we came together as a board to do our work. And I'm looking for input. I'm looking for next steps, and I want to have this information, ready and prepared so that, going into the new school year, we are in our full committee structure. And that includes things like the policy alerts that we have for Strauss-Esme or anything else that we need to do as a board. Yes.
I like the idea that one day a month is set aside for the committee meetings, because we already have 2 Mondays a month that we meet as a board. So I think it's, as we know, it's hard to get people together with our schedules. But if we've already had this earmarked for Board of Ed meetings, I like the fact that we'd all meet on Mondays and rotate it around for the hours. And those are not public meetings, correct?
Correct.
The committee meetings, right?
So going through OPMA, we're not going to have a quorum at the committee meetings, and so, those won't be public meetings unless the chair of the committee specifically, has a meeting that's announced to the public for whatever purpose is needed for that committee work. And I think that would be, probably more of a rarity, but this would allow, work to get done. Is there any other input on that or thought process on that?
Just to second it, I think it works in good cadence. It sounds like we'd have a regular, very public, very accessible opportunity every month for the public to come, engage, interact. We'd have items that we'd be voting on, but it'd give the board the opportunity within that time period to build and prep and prepare. Commonly, I'll hear from people when they ask, I'm going to come to the meeting tonight to speak. Well, this is the wrong one to show up to. I think this cadence is just going to make it more obvious and less of a mystery of what does the board meet here for tonight, or versus in 2 weeks, are we delaying things or not? And the reality is we're not. We're just beholden to the structure that we're in. So having this structure that you're describing, having the monthly public execution meeting. That's the wrong word. Executive.
Thank you.
Meetings to execute upon the needs of the district are going to be like that. That's going to be the opportunity that I think it's going to help the public come forward and see what we actually do.
Yep. Thank you for that. I didn't even think about it that way as well. But yes, I think it does provide additional clarity. So the next steps, I will work with Mr. Canales to take a look at the calendar for, I guess, the first meeting in August all the way through the end of the year and maybe even the calendar year for us to, not calendar, the school year, for us to determine what the meeting dates would be for the committee versus the meeting dates that would be more for the board meeting. I will please do send to me your thoughts. I'll forward you the document again that I had shared with regards to the different committees that we were looking at having. I do remember that some of you mentioned that you wanted one or another committee to be considered, and then we will split that up, and I'll forward out, that information. So if you have additional comments on that, please do send it. Yes, Mr. Canales.
Dr. Robinson, at our organization meeting back in January, we established the calendar through the remainder of this calendar year. Mm-hmm. Do you want to revisit those dates, or we would just do the first Monday as the committee meetings and then the third as the action meeting?
I would keep the dates the same, and Perfect. It would just be like, instead of it being a public meeting on the specific dates,
Yep.
That way we're not.
We will re-advertise.
Yeah, we don't have to re-advertise. Yes.
Just to circle back, we're saying that the committees meet Mondays when it's that particular committee meeting, correct? Because some individuals will be on more than one committee, so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so there wouldn't be, and because me or any other board president would have the opportunity to be at every single meeting, right. You can't really have them running concurrently, otherwise then you're not able to
Right.
have that level of overlap. So really, it would just be one evening, and maybe it's like 6 to 7, 7 to 8,
Right.
8 to 9, 9 to 10, and we might be able to like rotate it around. So maybe if you were last for that time, you're first, like that kind of.
And there will be some months where there are no need for a
Yep.
particular committee to meet, just to, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. All right, so in terms of the policy.
So yeah, circling back to policy, once you establish the committee, and we'll look at when the first committee meeting is for that. If there's a timing issue, because we don't have very many meetings over the summer, we can
Yeah.
call it a different meeting for that policy committee.
All right,
So,
perfect, thank you. I'm just pulling back up the agenda. All right, can I get a motion to approve G1 through G3? Ms. Stevenson, seconded by Mr. Cohen. Any questions or comments? Mr. Cohen?
So I think I mentioned in the past that Dr. Robinson and I are the Central School parents, and I talked to my daughter about that, and she said, "Oh, I don't believe that's going to happen." I said, "Well, I think it's going to happen." We also started calling the school at home. We started calling it Hawkins Central School, and we're saying that she's going to go to Hawkins Central School. So, appreciate all the hard work and the patience, and I think it's been, 10 years or 1 year of a lot of work, and thank you for advocating. I wish parents would advocate for so many other things in town, but seeing the passion and the work that has been done, I'm probably going to support the vote and the name change. Being the financially conservative person on the board, I will put an asterisk and say that as we discussed, I would expect that the cost will be covered by donations and not by the taxpayers. I'm happy to donate, and I will, but just from a cost perspective, I wanted to mention that.
Thank you. And I will say that I believe that every board member on here is financially conservative. We all just have like a variety of ways to think about that. I also do support this. I thought about it long and hard. Yes, I am in the Central School District. My daughter attends Central School currently. I live very close to Broad Street, just like Ms. Harding stated. And I have learned lots about the rich history of that area, and I didn't even realize it until after I had moved there. I had the opportunity to speak with other members of the community since the last meeting, and it was shared that there was a strong desire for this to come from fundraising efforts, and just like Mr. Cohen said, I'm more than happy to do a personal donation as well as a resident. I do hope that the community is able to be generous as well, and it has been stated to me that there are many people that have already reached out with the goal of fundraising this item, and I can understand the difficulty with members of the community that may either not be supportive or may either be neutral or things like that. So having the costs heavily covered through fundraising would be a great asset to be able to focus solely on the merits of what Mr. Hawkins provided to this country and to this community. Additionally, speaking with the HSA president, there were a variety of things that would be useful for the school community even right now. It would be a great opportunity to bring Mr. Hawkins' name in there by also incorporating other aspects of maybe not even just so much a aesthetic or school beautification process, but I think that there's ways for us to talk about giving back to the school and making sure and connecting the current students to this endeavor, should it pass tonight. And, I look forward to engaging with everyone on that process and learning about that. I will figure out how to, well, so as a member, I'll just say from a regulatory perspective, the Board of Education can't run a fundraiser, like being that we're elected officials, we're government officials, things like that, we wouldn't be able to. But I know a gentleman sitting on your left that has already committed, he has already committed to running a fundraiser. It's something that I think that we would be able to find a way as residents to keep the community aware of like the fundraising goal and some of the projects that the HSA president is going to talk with with John as well as Ms. LaCroix and like determine like what are some other things that are able to maybe if we can like think about that as residents and so it's also hard for I'll say for me to talk about this from the perspective of a resident as well as then from the perspective of what my duty is as a elected board official. So, think about that one. And anybody else? Yes, Christine.
I just want to say that this is a super cool and super exciting thing to be a part of. And even though it took you 10 years to come here, I'm glad I'm sitting on the board when this vote comes to our table, because it's fun to be a part of this.
Dr. Bender.
Okay, so I have a couple of things that I need to say. Number one, your passion and persistence is contagious. So it may have taken you 10 years, like Ms. Parliament said, but you're here. And I do not profess to be a history buff, so please, this has been probably my most exciting lesson in history. Do not tell that to Mr. Diet, because I graduated from here in 1980, so we don't want to go back there. So it gives me great pride to be able to say, and I think you missed a very important point, that this comes at a time that happens to be a celebration of our country's 250th anniversary. So how impressive is that we can do this? In addition to Central School, we can add his name and honor someone who served his country on the 250th year anniversary of our country. So, hopefully, I think that this is moving in the right direction, I would like to believe. And again, those of you that are affiliated somehow through family, background, connections, with all due respect, it was just wonderful to hear the stories. So thank you for sharing, and I will be voting yes.
Thank you. All right.
So where I differ is not on whether or not we should honor Mr. Hawkins. I firmly believe that we should, but it's on how exactly we honor him. And I believe that there are more meaningful ways than the symbolic name change of Central School. And I will be voting no.
All right.
We're all going to say something. I just want to thank everyone who advocated for this. You were very, very passionate, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that it made, I believe, our board a little stronger because we didn't have a policy for this. So we had to develop a policy. We had to follow our policy. So I think that governance end of it really was helpful for us. I will be supporting this because I think that Thomas Hawkins really shows all those values and traditions that we hold dear in Glen Rock and we expect of our students. So I will be supporting this.
All right, thank you. All right. Okay.
I know some of my comments I spoke kind of factually. I was appointed on the committee by my colleague Christine, who probably thought I've reviewed a few military awards in my past. What you didn't know is I scrutinized every single one of them in the same way that I looked at this. So it was literally Captain Corey evaluating Airman Hawkins on his merit. And we always tell people, do not do anything of valor. They will name a porta potty after you if you're unlucky. But we can do something a little better tonight. What I settled on and was we don't have to make perfect to be the enemy of good. I want to thank and remind some challenge on the committee, on the group here. Your continued support is expected because you stood up, you spoke up, and there's an opportunity in a very challenged budget environment for you to continue to do what you've been doing. Hi, John. And I'm confident that we'll get to the opportunity that this will be a real gift to the community. So that garnered my support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm another guy who voted no in the last round, and not out of disrespect for Thomas. And my personal concerns, number one, were financial, which we've talked about, and it sounds like we've covered that. One of my biggest concerns is that this is not enough of a recognition and that we should do more for him to recognize him. We have veterans monuments in town. We have other things that the entire town can recognize and celebrate. And I'm not against the naming of the school or the idea of it. And I think if we name the school, yes, there will be those recognitions we've talked about. I think building a curriculum around it that you sort of alluded to is hugely important. I know other states have talked about having a name or a date for Thomas Hawkins Day, which is amazing. So with all that, I go back and forth. And I think at the end of the day, I agree, kind of a combination of what everyone's saying, but I hope we do more for him. I hope we do much more fundraising, much more recognition. We have 4th of July parades in town. We have 9/11 memorials. We have a park called Veterans Park. So there's plenty of opportunities and plenty of people in town who should be informed of this remarkable young man. So having said all that, at the end of the day, I think ultimately I'm going to end up on the side of yes, because this is important for all these other reasons. But I really, want to be serious about the concern of, we have schools named after people. We have schools in other towns named after people. A lot of people don't really know who those people are or why. And I'm a very patriotic person. I'm a very community-oriented person. And I brought up an idea of building a monument. And I think a lot of people got scared by that idea, but we've spent that kind of money as a town, even in this time of budget crisis. If we could put something like that forward, I bet you we could rally towns and people to raise the funds to do such a grand thing. So I guess that's kind of all I need to say about it for now. And if it passes tonight, I will be very happy for Thomas and very happy for everyone.
Thank you.
I guess I'll just be very quick. I'm pretty sure you guys did it. Congratulations.
Okay. If we can call roll, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes, congratulations.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas?
Proudly, yes.
Dr. Pucci Bender?
Yes, thank you for the history lesson.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Tang?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Calvez?
Yes, except for G3, with regret.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes.
Motions pass.
All right. All right, on to, we don't have any items under instruction and program, special services, and then management and community with the late start.
Sure. So this is a conversation that's been brewing for a while, which is about exploring options for a later start for the high school and middle school. There is quite a bit of research out there about later start times and their benefits to adolescents and just the way the adolescent brains are wired. Other schools are making changes. And so we were asked to look at the viability of moving our middle school, high school to a later start time. So I'll just walk you through the process of where we've been and what we found and talk about kind of where we are. So back in March, I met with Mr. McCory and folks from the Glen Rock Police Department to talk about just traffic flow in the general setup of the town. And some of the things that we talked about, I anticipated. Some of the things that they shared with me were things I hadn't thought of. So I'll just run through those things again, even though I think we've talked about this before. So the thing that I was not surprised about is that they were very clear that due to traffic patterns and just the way the town is set up, the middle school, high school cannot have the same starting or ending times as the elementary schools, that it would cause real problems both with traffic flow, but also problems with crossing guards, that they are very limited with the number of crossing guards they have, and to be at all of the schools at once would be difficult. I think also for a lot of parents that would be very difficult. If I'm dropping off a third grader at Byrd and a sixth grader here at the middle school, that causes some challenges. But they were very clear about traffic patterns in the town, and limited crossing guard staffing is a real concern of theirs. The one thing that they brought up that I found that I hadn't thought of before is, one of my initial thoughts was maybe we start the middle school, high school later and the elementary school earlier, just flip-flop the times. And they were talking, though, that would be a difficulty for the town to start the elementary schools earlier. They said that the worst commuting traffic for folks getting out of town and getting to the train station is between about 7 and 8:15. And already it's problematic. The traffic at that time for drop-off is here at the middle school, high school, and at least it's located in one spot. You can drive around it to get to the train station or get to 208 or get out of here. They think that if you have it dispersed throughout the town at all of the elementary schools, Coleman wouldn't really be a problem because it's tucked away, but the others, Byrd, Hamilton, and Central would be a real Byrd, Hamilton, and Hawkins Central, would be problematic because folks are trying to get to the train station, folks are trying to get across town. It would be difficult. So they said from their perspective and a traffic flow problem, they would really not recommend us moving the elementaries any earlier because we'd be putting them right on top of commute time. They voiced, and I also reached out to new Chief Trover last week, and he reiterated that changing the start and end times could really affect their crossing guard staffing. And already they have real problems with staffing. He said, Trover last week said, on a typical day, at least 5 or sometimes as many as 5 or 6 of the crossing guard stations are staffed by Glen Rock Police Department police officers because they don't have enough crossing guards. If any of you want to be a crossing guard, I know that we also need lunch aids too, folks, if you're but they already have a real problem finding crossing guards, and staffing is hard. So if we were to extend it, it would be a real problem. Retired Chief Ackerman, when we met in March, said that even extending the crossing guard by additional hour would probably cost about $100,000 a year, that their crossing guards are the third highest line items in their salaries as far as the police department goes. So it's a big expense that they're very concerned about not crossing. There were some other things about this, but according to the police department, if they said, understanding what we're looking at doing and why it would be beneficial for kids and all that, the really only viable way to have a later middle school high school start time without causing serious traffic or crossing guard issues would be to start the middle school, high school after the elementary start around 8:45 to 9 o'clock. But that still might cause problems with crossing guards. So working within those frameworks, we put together a committee of folks here at the high school, middle school, look at what are some different options that we could do for that. Keith, could you put up the visual? So what we have here on the visual here, folks on the board, you've already seen this, but I figured we'd get this up because I thought people might be in the audience. The left two columns are what we have already. So the green is elementary, that's drop-off and pickup. The purple next to it is the current middle school, high school drop-off pickup. You can see that the start and ends are staggered so that we can use the same crossing guards, so we don't have to double up and we don't have to draw them out really late. The next one column over, I think it's a little bit red, but it's faded. And the next ones after that are 3 different options for a later start time, all starting at 8:50. And I'll get into kind of why we can't go earlier. I already mentioned it, but we'll get back to that. And so we looked at 3 different options. Option one, which is right in the middle, would be the same length classes and the same length school day for high school and middle school, just shifted later. You can see the problem with that, of course, is that middle school, high school won't get out until 3:56 p.m., which is late. I mean, by winter, it's almost dark by then, right? When you think about after-school activities and sports and all of the things that happen at the middle school, high school, it's late. It's quite late. So if we look at option 2 and option 3, those are reducing the class time to shorten the school day. Option 2 is reducing, instead of 57-minute teaching periods, down to 53-minute periods, and option 3 is down to 50-minute periods. Keeping in mind that moving to 53 is a 5% reduction of teaching time, right? So 5%, that works out to, over the course of the year, about 10 class periods, right? So as a former high school teacher, my question would be, what 5% of the curriculum do you want to cut? Right? What 5% of the material do we not have time for now, right? That's my concern from a curricular point of view. And the 50-minute period is much more than that as well. So these are the options that we came up with. So the questions, with some of the questions I got, this is for an hour later start time. How about if we moved it earlier, moved it to just 20 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. But then you can see, and I think this visual shows it, it starts overlapping with elementary really closely. Right? If we moved it from a 7:50 to an 8:30 start, we'd be having everybody starting within a couple minutes of each other, right? Which is what the police department said we really cannot do. If you move it, any kind of shorter time, we're running into those problems there. And then the last thing that I'll just kind of sum up here, I've had conversations, including today, I talked with her some more, with the GREA president, Lisa Tomaselli, and they are very concerned about the length of the days and the contractual obligations of teachers. That the high school already, on average, teachers teach for about 214 minutes a day, and the elementary teaches 286 on average a day. And to reduce the high school, middle school, she said, would be very upsetting to the elementary staff to have the high school, middle school even fewer student hours and elementary still continuing to teach and teach and teach. So that's what I have. I'm open to questions from the board, and we can talk through this. That's what we're here for.
Thank you. Thank you for the work that you did on this. I'm opening it up to the board. What questions or, what questions do you have? Yes, Christine.
So thank you for pulling together the information. I don't understand why we cannot entertain a 20-minute later start. And when I read the report, I was actually quite encouraged. That report didn't show any reason why we can't do it. So the GREA that we spoke about, their concern was the high school and middle school teachers weren't teaching as long as the elementary school teachers. The proposal wouldn't be to change the teaching times at all. I think what we discussed before was just like Ridgewood. Ridgewood has the same exact schedule for the teachers. Their schedule doesn't change. The students' schedule changes, and you can keep the open hours, the open extra minutes. So I was looking at, for example, a 20-minute later start time, and the teachers can come the same exact time they do now and open up for open tutoring for the kids. I also heard from what your report was with the police, and the police had mentioned 2 things. Was the crossing guards, which said they might be a problem. It didn't say anything that it is. As well, we have the traffic was mentioned as most congested during 7 to 8:15, so this would only help move that out of that window and alleviate the traffic problem. So I was actually quite encouraged by it. And I'm going to just jump to Ridgewood, because we've talked about Ridgewood before and how successful they have done it. Ridgewood had moved their start time from 7:45 to 8:20, 35 minutes. There was like a doomsday when they proposed this. Everyone said the busing is going to go crazy, traffic's going to be nuts, the cost is going to be insane, and the biggest critic has now become the biggest advocate, which is the principal, Jeff Nyhouse. They've had zero problems. It's gone off so successfully. But most importantly, I think we need to think about why we're even discussing this. And that's our constituents, who are the students. And the students are the reason that we're here. And it's almost a health issue that they are chronically deprived of sleep. The past 10 years have been a huge phase of studies and on adolescent sleep, and you can research it and look it up for the Academy of Pediatrics, the Centers for Disease Controls and Prevention. We're not waiting on any new information to come out. So the information's there, and having more sleep for students helps them mentally, less anxiety, less depression, less suicides, less visits to the health counselors. They have better academic scores. They have better sports. They're more engaged in the classrooms. And Ridgewood will tell you that their students are doing fantastically. So, we come up with these logistics for why we can't do it. But if we move from just 7:50 a.m. to, say, an 8:10 start, that gives our students 60 hours of extra sleep a year, every school year. And I know you spoke about the lack of, or removing class time, but we are well above our required minimum for times. And I would argue that it's not quantity, it's quality. And the kids will be better in class with better quality time. And, a lot of people we've spoken before about we need to wait on if we're having a new superintendent and the administration. And I just feel that waiting for a new superintendent will not change the science here, because the biological needs of our students don't pause. And our board is here for governance, and if we believe that later start times is better for our students, then that's what we should be looking to find a solution to do. We can act on the evidence today. Ridgewood did this with no problems, and I wish we had, contacted them and spoken with them. So I really would hope that we can look to find a way to just move it even 15 minutes. This is a small town geographically. I don't think we would have the problems. The crossing guards, we're going to have them there no matter what. The board, we can find a solution to make this happen for our students, because this is, if we had an issue, a health issue in our schools right now, and we found something was dangerous for them, we would of course course correct. So I would think we should course correct today. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts of why we shouldn't.
Thank you, Christine. Sorry, my voice is, I'm losing it. One, I would also, just because, sorry for talking out of turn here, but the goal of these discussions in our CAL meeting is for this evidence to be presented to us, for us to then talk about it, and then make either recommendation, make an ask, say, like for instance, if the ask at the end of this discussion is, can we investigate what an 8:10 would look like, or an 8:15, or things like that, that's essentially what administration is asking from us. So thank you very much for.
But we don't have that we only have the 3 scenarios, and all 3 are 1 hour later.
This is, the next step is then for us to then make our ask and bring it back to administration and then go from there. Like, they also can't know all of the things. Like, one, I hope that all of us come up with, a variety of solutions from our collective experience to present, right? This is going to come from us. the information is going to come from us, and then we're going to ask whatever we want to ask, and then administration, acts accordingly. Mr. Cohen?
Yeah, I'm too was very disappointed and very surprised to see the output of this. I think the option of 8 or 8:10 is very obvious. We don't need another meeting and wait 3 months to look at it. I'm willing to bet that if we ask the mayor and council and explain the importance of moving the start time of the schools, they will be supportive of it, and they will work with the police to make it happen. If there's anything that we learned from the efforts of the central school name change, is that there's always reasons excuses to not do the right thing. But this is the right thing, and we've seen the other schools are doing that, and we've seen it's successful in Ridgewood. So I don't know why we're keep delaying it. Oh, I know why we're keeping delaying, but we should not keep delaying and delaying and delaying it.
I have been an early proponent of a later start time, and I've been discussing it over the course of several years. I went down to school boards a few years ago. I sat through a couple of workshop sessions talking about it. At the time, it was the superintendent of Chatham. We don't have busing, which makes it a little bit easier for us. I mean, from my past advocacy, I do support a later start time. However, does Ridgewood have any written reports that we can look at? I mean, I don't know if it's on their website, but the biggest issue I see here with this, it says, administration does not support a change. And if we're going to ask somebody to make a big change, even though it is for the betterment of our students, the people who are going to implement this, in my opinion, have to support it. Otherwise, I don't see it going the way of being successful. In the research that was said, I went back and to look at my notes from the workshops I went to. They're saying 8 o'clock start time is the ideal time for a district that doesn't have busing. If there's a way, and this is not anything, final report, this was your initial findings, and as Damali said, it's time for us to discuss it and give our suggestions on it. If there is a way to maybe have an 8:10 start time, that might be brought into a little bit better. It's all about when there's a major change, which is one of the reasons I ran for the board, is when the supervisors came in, it kind of was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I've been in the district when they changed the drop ad, that was presented very differently and got buy-in. I just think that if we get buy-in, especially by the people who are going to be tasked with implementing this and supporting our decision, that it needs to be discussed with them, and we need to sell it in such a way that they will buy into it, and just waiting for a new superintendent, perhaps that would be a way to do it, and that person can build the relationships and the trust. I am not against this. I am definitely for it and have been for some time. I mean, the other ones where schools getting at it. 4 is difficult, even later at 3 o'clock, because there are a lot of kids at the middle school, high school that have younger siblings, and they have to go down to those schools and pick those kids up, or they're babysitting, and they go to the elementary school and pick kids up. So that's also something that we need to think about. And I think we all know the traffic is really bad in town in the mornings, especially with 2 train lines. So if we can look at a way, maybe 8 o'clock, 8:10. Chatham also they went from 57 minutes for their classes down to 55 minutes. And I wrote in my notes that their high school became 15 minutes shorter. Minutes in seat doesn't mean more learning. That was something that the superintendent said at that workshop. So I just think these are more things that we can think about and discuss. That's what this whole thing is supposed to be, a discussion. I didn't come tonight thinking, okay, it's our final discussion on this. This is a work in progress. And sometimes in public education, things take longer to be done, not like in the private sector. And if you're not used to that, it's frustrating. Even when you are used to that, it's very frustrating. So I thank you for this, and I'm glad that this discussion is going to move forward.
Thank you. Dr. Bucci-Bender?
I'm not going to reiterate on any of this, except for the fact that I just want to add to, I did have a conversation with a vice principal of West Essex High School. If you go to their website, you will see a dedicated page to the change to the school start times. It has it all laid out, it's all mapped out. I will tell you that they were on pins and needles, the administration, before they made the change. And again, comparable to Ridgewood, they are thrilled. The chronic absenteeism has disappeared, and their students are more engaged, and everything from academics to athletics seems to be thriving better. I'm just suggesting, maybe you can reach out. If you need to know who I spoke with, I'd be happy to share the name. It's just some more information for us to look into, dive into, and see if there's anything that we can compare to, contrast, whatever. Just an offering.
Thank you.
So I don't know that I could say it more eloquently than you did, Karen, but I think there's a part of this where this is a change management initiative, right? So it is going to be an iterative process, and I do thank you, Greg, for hearing us out and talking with the police chief and talking with the other administrators, and I think we as a board need to come up with some other solutions that team might be more amenable to, and work it through. I think, you know, the community who's here, who's been advocating for 10 years to change a name, right? There's a element of this where you need to persevere through obstacles, and you need to come up with arguments that help people understand how or why things are that important. So I think there's, you know, a number of lessons to be learned tonight, and in particular from this conversation. It can be collaborative even if we don't all agree. I think we agree we want what's best for the children, and I think we can get there, but how is important as well.
Dan?
I'm just looking at our proposed committee structure that we, because this is committee of the whole, right? And these are good ideas. I'm not going to debate them, but I think this is probably going to fall into the facilities and operations committee. We're really talking about how this is going to move forward, and how these processes are going to move forward. It's tough for us to sit at the dais and discuss this all right now and really kind of expect to be prepared and have any sort of meaningful iteration on it all. Yeah, 8, 10, reasonable, right? But that's not a committee process that's supporting it. I think I'm looking forward to probably that committee. If not, governance, policy, and compliance it might fit into there. Just sharing how I kind of see this actually moving forward, along with other examples of ideas. I think a lot of our problems that we address are going to be solved by this new governance model, where we're working in a I'll steal your word, collaborative relationship with the administration, because it's not our job to do their job, but we're trying to come in and provide insights and feedback and give them the opportunity to say, like, hey, no, this is what we're hearing outside the walls of the school. So I'm looking forward to the next iteration of it. Hopefully it doesn't take a year, but I think we have a model to actually to dig into this soon.
I just want to piggyback, Dan. Thank you for bringing that point up, because I think that this is a conversation that can be woven into several committees, where we can have, a deeper discussion about it, the pros, the cons, the what ifs, and just discuss. So again, I appreciate all the work that you did already. There's no doubt about it that you put a lot of time into that. So, but again, going to the committee structure, I think, is the best thing that can happen.
And each committee has its own purview to challenges, so a committee does not take on a challenge unless you have an ad hoc committee. A committee really advises the board from its deep dive into an issue from the perspective of the specific issue. Finance and Audit Committee is one, Facilities and Operations Committee, and Policy and Governance. These are all components of the decisions that I think, are going to be more effectively kind of like community advisors to the administration through this. So we're getting there, but
Curriculum instruction.
we need curriculum instruction. I didn't scroll over to the top, but we really need this tool, and I think we'll be a lot more effective.
Yep. Ms. Parlamas.
Just to address a few points. Ms. Stevenson, to your point about the administration, needs to buy in. I will say in Ridgewood, no one bought into it. The board decided, and the biggest proponents right now are the administration for it. So they love it. They love the changes. And this is
Did they have, I'd be curious to know where that was documented, how much they like it.
I had a conversation with them. It's on a YouTube video that I referenced in a prior meeting, and the principal is open to anyone calling him for information about this as well. And I spoke to the board president in Ridgewood, too. This is a board decision. This is also something, it's not like the renaming of Central. It can happen in March, it can happen in October, it can happen in December. This can only really happen prior to the start of a school year, and we're sitting here at the end of one, and we could make this happen for September. We can make this happen for September. Can we start 1 minute later? I think we can. I think the school could accommodate 1 minute later. Can we do it 10 minutes later? Yes, I think we can. It's a matter of the board. This is a health crisis for our children. The science is not going to change next year. The science is there of the detriment for sleep deprivation. And as I said, like, we're not going to, the school day is not looking to be expanded for a later start time. This would be a small shrinking of our schedule.
Do you have a specific ask that you're asking the board specifically to consider?
I can do that if that is,
I think
wraps
that's
things
for-
up.
Yeah, because I just want to make sure, I don't think you're going to get really any of us that are going to say, like, absolutely not. We don't think that later start, like, from a health care, like a health perspective.
I can do a resolution or a motion to do this.
Well,
if
it's
that's
not
what
so
you're
much a
saying.
motion or a resolution. I mean, like, one, it would be, you were saying something like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Like, if that is generally like a consensus that you're saying, hey, can we give this to administration and have them weigh in on, let's say I think you said 8:10 or 8:05 or 8:10 start or something like that?
I was thinking between, listen, I'm just one of 9 people, but I was thinking it would be very workable to change it 15 to 20 minutes, 15 to 20. And I would hope for 20, and I think we could probably easily get to 15.
And then what are you suggesting with the
The end time is the same. The teacher schedule is exactly the same. The later period, that 15 or 20 minutes, the teachers are reporting in and kids can come to school for extra help if they need to, or if the parents need to drop them off earlier, just like before.
All right, Mr. Cohen and then Ms. Stevenson.
Sorry, I think just to put it into action, I think the ask would be for administration to come back, I guess, just urgently, like next board meeting, and present the 10 and 10 and 8:10, 8 and 8:10 start time as an alternative. Plus, I'm not sure who is the representative to the council, but whoever it is, to talk with council and ask their feedback and their help, because they're managing the police, so get their buy-in as well to the change.
So I would also, I would ask for caution in terms of like going specifically to, like, for instance, Captain Trover on behalf of the board or administration or something like that. However, I do advocate for you to, in your role as liaison, discuss liaison with the council. Before we even go on any further on action, Ms. Stevenson.
I just have one quick, what are the contractual hours for the staff at the high school and middle school?
I don't know off the top of my head the actual teaching minutes, what the contractual hours are, but the GREA president made it very clear that if we reduce the teaching time, and I don't mean tutoring, I asked her specifically what if we did a tutoring thing, she said absolutely not. If the board does that, we will be very upset. I won't use the language she used with me, but they made it very clear that it would be a real problem with the association if we reduced teaching time at the high school, middle school, and not at the elementary schools.
Like actual on-schedule student contact time?
Yes.
Required student contact time?
Yes.
Is there a way if, the teachers, school starts at 7:50, correct? If I remember correctly. So the teachers, whatever time that they have to be here, so say 7:50, and let's suppose we did an 8:10 start time. Is there a way to make like it a mandatory time for the teachers to have student contact time between 7:50 and 8:10, so as to alleviate that concern that they would have less, like, formal teaching time? I know that, she said, oh, no, tutoring won't work, but is there some way that maybe, I don't know, if they would rotate, like, their class out for smaller group instruction, or for, like, some short enrichment time, or some creative way to use that part of the day? So it doesn't look like, oh, they don't have to teach as much as we do. I don't know if that makes sense the way.
Right, and that's what I spoke with her about, and I can certainly have another conversation with her about that, but she was very clear that that would not be acceptable.
And I get that, like, right, I get that, because I know there's a lot of times where everything's, oh, nobody cares about the elementary school, everybody cares about the middle school and high school. Coming from the elementary school, I get it. But if it was in a way that it's like, the teachers are required to be someplace with students during that time to do some formalized instruction, or, like I said, tutoring or enrichment or something to that. But then we would then be asking certain kids to come in earlier, and we're trying to avoid that.
My understanding is that this is exactly what Ridgewood did. So your idea is exactly what Ridgewood did.
Right, but we're not Ridgewood?
Yeah, but.
And again, so again, back to what you just said, Ms. Stevenson, we are not Ridgewood. So one of the things, if you look at Ridgewood's schedules, all of their schools end within 10 minutes of each other, because they put them on buses, right? They figured out a way to do that, but we cannot do that, right? They made it clear that we can't end or begin at the same time as elementary, right? I don't know what their teachers association thought about having this flexible time, but apparently it was okay with theirs. It clearly is not. One of the things that we've been doing, over the last year especially, is really trying to build collaboration with town council, with the police department, with the teachers association, as a community. And so my first steps were to go to those organizations to get their feedback and work together on this project. I don't, by any means, as Dr. Robson was saying, consider this done, right? This is a conversation. This is where we should be. And I can certainly continue to work with administration, and I have your feedback, absolutely. And I will talk with GREA again and see if there are ways that we can make some sort of later start time happen. Absolutely, we can continue moving with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, on to business. Mr. Canellis?
Thank you, Madam President. So, something for discussion. In statute, specifically 18A 42-2, it calls for the board to be notified of any expiring contracts for that year, as well as any new contracts. Glen Rock has always done that via a resolution. The code doesn't actually require a resolution, but a report to the board. What I am suggesting and looking for feedback on is to provide that report in the same timing that we always have, which would be the last meeting in June, in this case, June 15th. But we would not make it a resolution. We would just provide a report to the board for the board to review.
All right.
James, do you need our feedback on that, or is that just?
Yeah, because it would be on the next one. I mean, I could certainly do it this year, as we always have, and have a further discussion, or if you guys are okay with the idea of just receiving a report as opposed to a resolution, it would be easier to do it that way.
It sounds like we'd be voting on something that we don't necessarily have control over. If a contract expires, that term is already implicit in our resolution to adopt the contract.
Which is why I think it doesn't require a resolution, just a reporting to the board. Are we good with that?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah? Okay, great, thank you. Some new business that'll be on our next meeting. So we will be approving our 26-27 non-resident tuition rates. That is not the ECP tuition rate. It is the tuition rate that we charge to non-residents, and it comes specifically out of the budget software. So we'll be putting that on the agenda for your approval. We will also have our excess surplus unreserved fund balance resolution, which is done on the last meeting in June. And there we will have monies allocated for future budget years. In this case, I believe it's 27 and 28, as well as potential deposits, or there certainly will be deposits into capital reserve and maintenance reserve. So we will have that available for you guys. We're going to have some third-party administrators for our 403B and 457B. Again, these are the folks that really we remit withholdings to, and then they allocate those funds to the various investment options that our employees suggest. They're, for the most part, without cost, except for one, which is Vanguard, which it runs us about $600 a year. We'll be also establishing our petty cash for 26-27. Something that will be new is that we're adding a petty cash for transportation to cover the tolls, being that we now have the larger bus. We're going to be doing more of the further trips with the larger bus, so it's become a little bit problematic and a long process for our driver to get reimbursed. So we're going to do a petty cash, and this way they can get their refund once they come back from a route. And then the last two resolutions that we will be having.
I have a question about that with
Sure.
regards to the petty cash and the bus. So you had to go through the cash lane, like literally, like it's not like a easy pass situation like that?
So a school is not allowed to have a credit card.
Okay.
We have inquired if you can get Easy Pass without a credit card. I don't believe you can. The commercial bus companies get away with it because they're not public entities, and therefore they don't have this issue. We'll continue to look into that, but our first pass on that was that we cannot get an Easy Pass. That would make life much easier.
Thank you.
I've even offered mine. So, and then the last two items are our typical resolutions that we pass at our June meeting. One, which allows us to pay our bills during the months of July and August, and also to award contracts during the months of July and August. And this summer, it's particularly important on the awarding of contracts because we are not going to be done awarding all of our time and material bids that we need in order to have them in place for September, or for that matter, even over the summer. So we'll have those resolutions that have typically been on the agenda available to you as well. Lastly, we have some action items that are related to each other. So the first is we have a couple of time and material bid awards. We are now, I believe, up to about 9 or 10 that we've awarded. We have gone through the bid process, and we will ask you to accept those awards in the next few minutes. But there are 4 trades that after 2 bidding cycles, we have received no bids. And so what the law says is that after we advertise and open bids twice, we can then reach out and negotiate a contract. So there's a resolution for the 4 trades that we're looking at for us to go and actually pursue an agreement with a service provider. The law basically states that you have to stay within the confines of the original bid specs. So I can't really change materially the bid specs. These are time and material bids. So what we would be doing is, agreeing to our X% plus cost on the materials, and then the prevailing wage minimum at a minimum for the wage. So that's what we are asking each of you to approve this evening in those 2 resolutions. Actually, I think it's 3 because they weren't all on the same bid cycle. So there's 3 resolutions, 4 trades. Let's see. Okay. Long-range facility plan from PSA. So we received it late on Friday afternoon. I can give you a 30,000-foot look, but it will probably keep you up at night, just by the very nature of the number of projects and the cost of the projects. I believe PSA has delivered on what we had asked. All of the projects have been valued in terms of necessity. It includes schematics of each of the projects, and it includes both things that are repair in nature or replace in nature, as well as aspirational type items. I'll give you an example. There's MPR, multi-purpose rooms, at 2 of the schools that we put on there for schools that don't have cafeterias. We put some field upgrades in there as well, just so that it would cover really everything that the school would have to entertain for the foreseeable future. So you'd be able to just simply pull out the report and go to that next category of need and decide whether or not that was something you wanted to pursue. So we're going to do a deeper dive. It's about a 500-page report. I'm going to figure out a better way of distributing that in a more condensed version, as well as the full text, if that's how you want to spend your evenings. And we will do that probably over the summer, so it's available for you folks come the beginning of the new school year. Mr. Cohen, you look like you have a question on your, I know you're dying to know. It's $214 million. You didn't want to know it, did you? Okay, and now our last thing that we have tonight is we've been asked, the board has been discussing the security guards that we currently have in our district, and providing the pathway for them to be armed. So Mr. McCory, our Director of Security, and I have spent a considerable amount of time reviewing potential protocols, qualifications, training. We presented that to you in closed session, and the natural progression would now for us to have a public conversation on it. I'm going to just run through the non-security sensitive issues that we can talk about, and I'll give you them in very quick bullet point fashion, and then we can you can have your conversation with the anticipation of having a motion on the June 15th meeting, so that we can, if the decision is to arm the guards, that we can have everything ready for implementation come the beginning of school in September. So without further ado, here is a real synopsis of the parameters upon which this is all going to be based. First, qualifications. All guards will be retired, and that is an honorable retirement from some form of law enforcement. They must have their retired police officer carry permit. They must also have their Security Officer Registration Act certification, also known as SORA. We will also be requiring a medical for each of the guards, affirming their physical capacity to perform protective duties. Training. First, there's 3 categories in which we will be doing training. The first is firearm and use of force. They will be under the New Jersey Police Committee Retired Officer Firearms Qualification, which will happen twice a year. They will be doing low light and reduced visibility shooting training. They'll be getting training in judgmental use of force, as well as de-escalation and verbal intervention training. Those last 2 would be on an annual basis. As far as school-specific training, there will be civilian response to active shooter events training through alert, stop the bleed, rapid response to active threat training, nonviolent crisis intervention, as well as district-based active shooter response training, along with GRPD when they have those in our buildings. The board also stressed the requirement that we have training for our special needs students. And so we've developed a number of items there: autism spectrum disorder recognition and response, sensory processing awareness training, communication strategies for nonverbal students, recognition of behaviors associated with intellectual and developmental disabilities, trauma-informed care training, as well as last resort restraint training. Some operational protocols that will be followed. Guards will supply their own firearm along with a level 3 retention holster. Guards shall employ the minimum force necessary and shall exhaust de-escalation options whenever time and circumstances permit. And here's the key. The drawing of a firearm is authorized only in response to an imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. Guards shall not draw, display, or discharge a firearm for purpose of discipline, behavior management, or compliance with school rules. Every drawing of a weapon incident will require a written report due before the guard's end of shift and delivered to the Director of Security. We will be installing firearm lock boxes in select adult-only bathrooms in every building. When a guard is using the facilities, they will be required to store their firearm in that lockbox. In addition, another lockbox will be installed in the Director of Security's office. When any guard is responding to an incident in either the Wellness Center or guidance here at the high school, middle school, the guard will place their firearm in that lockbox first and respond to the incident unarmed. As far as oversight and collaboration, we will enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Glen Rock Police Department, which shall govern coordination, mutual response, and information sharing. Local police shall retain primary jurisdiction for all criminal investigations occurring on school grounds and will be the in-charge department when responding to emergencies. Our guys will fall back into a assistance operation method. And lastly, we will establish an armed security review committee that shall convene semi-annual to review the incident reports, if any, training, compliance, as well as community feedback on how the program is working. And so that is a 30,000, well, maybe 20,000 foot view of what we're kind of thinking and what we'd like to put together. This does have the administration's endorsement, and we would like to have a resolution in the affirmative establishing armed guards at the June 15 meeting.
Thank you. And thank you very much for the work that you all have done. What questions or comments or anything does the board have? Yes.
I just want to thank both James, you and Greg for all your work with this. It's been very thorough. I think this is probably one of the biggest topics that we have discussed, and it's been, openly discussed and really thoroughly investigated. What you just reported out was very comprehensive, and I'm very, very glad to see the emphasis on training, because I think that's really important in this situation when we're dealing with children. And I just want to reiterate that these will be the guards that we currently have, that already have bonds with our students, that already have bonds with our families. So we are going to keep the same security guards, and this would just be, they would just then be armed if this resolution passes.
With the caveat that they can qualify and pass the physical. Yes.
Let's hope they do.
Yes, they can. I'm sure they will.
Yes.
I want to reiterate exactly what Karen said about the training. However, I do also want to thank everyone that was involved, including Mr. McQuarrie, because you really did do a very extensive plan, information that you did not include, right, that we know about. And I am very, very pleased with what I had heard. And as someone who has had experience, I've been around in education a long time, and I've had to sit through watching videos as a principal and as a superintendent from Columbine and everywhere else, and this is something that I really am very passionate about, the need to protect our children, because there are so many incidences that can happen on the outside to the inside. You cannot predict the unpredictable. And with that being said, I think that we need to be sure that we can do the best job humanly possible to protect our children and our staff. Everyone needs to come to work and to school feeling safe and secure. And I know that these are topics that keep superintendents and principals and teachers up at night. So thank you again for all the hard work that you put into this. I really am happy to hear it all.
Thank you. Ms. Parlemis?
I'll echo very similar thoughts. Just being here and seeing the work that has gone in and the research and the thoroughness, I thank you, Mr. McCory, and the administration for everything you've done up to this point. And I am thrilled, well, I shouldn't say thrilled. This is not an exciting vote like Central School, but this is something I feel also passionately about that we need to do. We need to move this forward, and it can't come soon enough in my book. So thank you for the work you've done.
All right, and I'll reiterate as well that this is, a thoughtful process that you're also taking over the summer time to, make sure that you're ironing out all of the kinks and that it's well-structured and well-prepared for when the students return to the building. Okay. Yeah, all right. Let me just.
I have nothing else.
All right, I don't have anything. All right, so motion to approve resolutions B1 through B7. Dr. Pucci-Bender and Mr. Hayward. And if you can call roll.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas?
Yes.
Dr. Pucci-Bender?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Tang?
Yes.
Ms. Calvez?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Can I have a motion to affirm the decision made in GRHS HIB 308123 as reported by the acting chief school administrator during the May 18th, 2026 closed work session meeting? Ms. Parlamas, seconded by Mr. Tang. And if we can call roll.
Mr. Cohen?
I'll recuse myself.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. Parlamas?
Yes.
Dr. Pucci-Bender?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Tang?
Yes.
Mrs. Calvez?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Anything from liaisons? All right. All right, so at 9:59, we'll open up our second public comment session. Please state your name, your address, and you'll have 3 minutes, at which point you'll hear an alarm go off just to ask you to wrap your comments. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. So I'll promise I won't take too much time. So my name is Juan Acero. I live in 265 Glen Avenue. And I'm here along tonight with some of our other parents from the Glen Rock Robotics family. I hope you enjoyed their presentation. We're here basically to just one simple reason, right? First of all, we want to celebrate whatever they did, but we are also asking or urging the board to ensure that their incredible journey continues going forward, right? As you heard tonight, the robotics program per se has become a vital space where most of our kids feel safe, they feel inspired, they feel value, and they feel a sense of belonging, right? So that's been very key. We as parents are concerned that, as you heard, Mr. Locotel, the coach, will be leaving or stepping down from the robotics program, and we hope the support remains as it is, with or without him, right? We really ask for the board tonight to continue your unwavering support for the program and to make it as inclusive and welcoming and impactful as he has been. I've been with that program from the very beginning. I'm very passionate. I have one boy who's one of the captains, and we are all worried that the program will stop or will not have the same push as it is. So I think we just wanted to take that opportunity to say, hey, this is a great space for the kids. It's not sports, it's not any of that wow factor, but this is great. And within the robotics community, Glenbrook is a big name. And I hope the board understands that and pushes it, right? So if you talk with anybody in the First Talk community and you said, my kid went to the Glen Rock team, they're gonna go, wow. So please, I just urge you, to support the program with or without Mr. Locatell going forward. It's really key for the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Jackson again. I just want to thank the board this evening, and I have posted the news on Facebook, which is now blowing up with thanks to the board from alumni, local citizens, people who have connections to Glen Rock. Their comments are overwhelmingly supportive, and again, many people thank the board for their action tonight. So thank you for a great birthday gift, too. I'd say we'd have a cake and candles, but it'd probably set off the fire alarm with my age, so we'll pass on that. But again, thank you, and I look forward to the next step, which is raising the money to make it happen. And as soon as we get the mechanism put together to do that, we will get the funds to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, board. Good afternoon. Good evening. No more afternoon anymore. So, Varun Mehta from 19 Woodvale Road. Again, parent of the robotics team. I'm kind of sad to hear Mr. Locatell stepping down from this. He has been the powerhouse for the team, and as someone who was asked by Mr. Locatell to judge for a couple of teams and participate as an FTC judge, coming out from the other side, the amount of recognition Glen Rock has in this community is unfathomable, going down to states and for regionals and teams just coming to know that you're from Glen Rock. Pretty much anyone and everyone comes and says, we've never seen a team that sticks for 2 hours after a whole day of an effort to just clean up the whole place, where all teams from 200 teams have competed. And this is a culture that Glen Rock has built with the support of Mr. Locatell. And we would really like this program to continue from all kinds of things. It's not just about the teaching kids on how to build robots, but how to build a community along with it. And he's done an amazing job. A good amount of time that he spends is not just in front of the kids, but also a good amount of time is spent coordinating this, organizing this, and having the whole backbone of getting kids to and fro from these events and kind of sticking around. So we would really like this program to stick around and not fall back. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Yun Luo, and I live on 34 Fairview Avenue. I have 4 topics that I would like to bring up. The first one is about school security. I appreciate the clarification that the district shared, and I understand that on June 15th we will have a vote. Is that a 2 vote or just 1? Because there was a thing about important topics, district will vote twice. Is it just 1 vote?
I'll, after comments closed, I'll.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Either way, I want to remind the board that security is an all-encompassing topic. Our school campuses are extremely permeable. It's important, as Dr. Pucci-Bender mentioned, that we have solutions that address both inside and outside the school buildings. The second issue I want to bring up is about our infrastructure. I encourage the board to spend more time on looking at our infrastructure rather than delaying the topic until the end of the meeting, after all the excitement. Recently, as in March, the staircase in front of one of the bird school exit was broken. Concrete deteriorated, handrail was not supporting, it was just falling. It took us 3 months, because as of now, it still hasn't been repaired. When I asked the principal, she said it will be repaired this weekend. It shouldn't take 3 months to repair a concrete staircase in front of the exit that the first graders go in and out every morning and every afternoon. And recently I went onto the district website about abatement. There is asbestos in our buildings where floors are damaged. They can be an extreme risk. Some of them are in school cafeteria areas. Right, so those are the observations I have made. I'm sure the board has more information. I encourage the board to spend more time looking at our school buildings to ensure our safety, our longevity of the district well-being. The third topic I want to bring up is about instruction time. I understand that we're looking at potentially reducing instruction time for middle school and high schoolers. This whole nation is facing a crisis where the student learning is declining, and I would caution against reducing instruction time. The fourth topic I want to bring up is the committee structure. I would caution the board that by allowing the president to appointing committees, we might give the board president, now or later, more power than there is right now. Those are all my comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Elise Meltzer, 59 Abington Terrace. I want to begin by saying that I take no pleasure in being here tonight. We followed every avenue available to us. We met with administrators, participated in the appeals process, asked questions, sought clarification, and we approached those conversations respectfully and in good faith, hoping to find resolution. Unfortunately, after exhausting those options, we feel that we have no choice but to bring this matter before the board. As a parent, it is obviously difficult to stand before you and publicly discuss my child's educational opportunities, but I believe this issue is important enough that it warrants your attention. I know the board has received my email and supporting documentation, so tonight I'm going to focus less on my son's individual circumstances and more on what his experience may reveal about the district's placement and appeals process. At multiple board meetings, district leadership has spoken about expanding access to advanced coursework, creating opportunities for students to challenge themselves, encouraging academic growth, like we heard it all tonight. Those are goals I fully support. My question is whether the policies currently being implemented are actually achieving those goals. Our son's case has left us with a simple question. Make this make sense to us, like nothing that is going on is making sense to us. We have been told he does not meet a threshold for honors pre-calculus, yet we have not been provided with clear, objective data that explains why. We have heard references to thresholds, matrices, problem-solving criteria, but when we ask what evidence supports that, the answers remain unclear. At the same time, we have a student who has always chosen the more rigorous math pathway, demonstrated growth throughout the year, received positive teacher feedback regarding his critical thinking and work ethic, and has a strong interest in pursuing mathematics-related studies in the future. If a student who has demonstrated those qualities is still unable to access advanced coursework, then I think it is fair to ask whether the system is functioning as we intended it to. Our concern extends beyond our child. We cannot be the only family experiencing this. If parents and students cannot understand how decisions are made, if the criteria is not transparent, and if growth and demonstrated readiness are outweighed by rigid threshold, then the board should ask whether the current process is creating barriers rather than opportunities for our students. I am also concerned that the district's process appears to place a significant weight on first semester performance while giving little consideration to a student's full year growth. When a student demonstrates meaningful improvement during the third and fourth marking periods, that progress should matter. If students can show they have developed the skills necessary to succeed, the placement process should recognize that growth rather than treating later achievement as irrelevant. What message are we sending students if improvement and hard work throughout the year ultimately just don't matter, they don't count? As the parent of a student who is legally entitled to an individualized education plan, I am concerned about whether decisions are being made with sufficient individualized consideration. When access to more rigorous coursework is denied despite evidence of progress, motivation, and the ability to succeed with appropriate supports, it raises questions about whether students are truly being afforded meaningful access to the educational opportunities available to their peers. I am asking the board to take a broader look at the policies that have been put into place and determine whether they are being implemented in a manner consistent with the goals that have been publicly stated. If the goal is to expand opportunity, challenge our students, and encourage academic growth, then the outcome should reflect those values. Our goal is not to lower standards. That's not what we're here for. Our goal is to ensure that students who are willing to work hard, challenge themselves, and demonstrate growth are given a meaningful opportunity to reach their potential. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Scott Meltzer, 59 Abington Terrace. I'm here regarding my son Luke Meltzer, pre-calculus honors course appeal process. It's timely that we just had a detailed presentation of access to programs for our gifted and talented students, and the many criteria and standardized assessments used to not overlook those candidates. But what about the hardworking regular students, those with IEPs, being analyzed with limited criteria and non-standardized norms? We're at this impasse because we have tried to take the appropriate steps through the district's chain of command and provide an abundance of information to the administration to help make a more informed decision. Unfortunately, this administration is digging in their heels on their appeals process. We believe on incomplete and inadequate data and due diligence and a pure lack of vision, flexibility, and reasoning. This appeals decision has been made without regard for our child's educational aspirations, more importantly, the cascading and long-lasting implication towards his future success. We wholeheartedly believe that the school administration is restricting access to advanced coursework for Luke and likely other students in Glen Rock. Simply put, the administration's appeal process and subsequent actions over the past few weeks are not only creating a divide within the community, but also flying in the face of New Jersey student learning standards and policies. As a board, you may not know how to help our son Luke in this current situation, which is understandable given the circumstances. We recognize that you as board members may not have been directly involved in this specific appeals decision. However, we believe it's important to highlight the board's obligation under District Policy P2200 and the applicable New Jersey statute NJAC 6A 8-3.1, which states, when applicable, district boards of education must, in legal terms, shall and must provide students with access to advanced coursework. District boards of education shall develop, implement, regularly evaluate strategies that identify, support, and encourage all student groups to enroll and succeed in advanced coursework. The statute further states district boards of education shall implement educational programs that prepare all students for success in college, careers, and civic life. Glen Rock policy, district policy itself references both NJAC 6A and New Jersey student learning standards. While we're not attorneys, we understand the distinction between statute, policy, and implementation. State statutes and regulations establish mandatory legal obligations. Board policies are intended to align with and implement those obligations consistently across the district. Administrative implementation may involve discretion in practice. However, the underlying legal responsibilities, including equitable access to opportunities and appropriate evaluation of students seeking advanced coursework, are not optional. Let me repeat for effect. What is not open to interpretation is the core legal obligation to not discriminate against groups, restrict opportunities, and/or ignore equity review requirements. With that said, we are unfortunately left with no choice but to place our burden on this esteemed board under District Policy 5710 Student Grievance Level 3.c, which we will provide in writing, and which states, a student or parent may appeal the superintendent or designee's decision to the board. An appeal that proceeds to the board will be determined promptly, and the board will issue a decision in no more than 30 calendar days. Student will be informed of the right appeal process of the Board of Commissioner of Education. If you could just give me one more minute, please. Let me be clear. Do we want to be here tonight? No. Spending the board's valuable time on this matter? No. This is why many schools in New Jersey and almost all schools in Bergen County, with the exception of Glen Rock, we have a waiver system to enable their children access to advanced coursework when the appeals process may not be equitable. Why is my child's educational future in the hands of a few administrators who, at the least, based on repeated comments of all appeals are final, could care less about Luke as a student? He's been treated as another number, and likely a number that exceeds a classroom size limit. Given the information and documentation already provided, we respectfully encourage the board to carefully review the administration's handling of this matter and the district's adherence to requirements outlined in New Jersey statute and board policy, as well as the waiver system. Just imagine if the time, resources, and collective efforts spent finding reasons to deny a motivated 16-year-old an opportunity to advance in mathematics had instead been spent finding ways to help him succeed. Our students should never have to fight this hard for the chance to learn more. Just imagine what Glen Rock could be if we became known not for protecting barriers, but for creating opportunities. As we look ahead to new leadership, perhaps it's time to consider whether the change we need extends beyond the superintendent's office. Broader culture extends beyond the superintendent's office into the broader culture of how we support academic excellence and student growth. One last comment. Mr. Cohen, you had asked for parents to advocate about important issues. Here we are, advocating. We are here because Luke's teachers and the administration won't advocate for him. As a board, it's easy, as you said, to find more ways to say no. Don't be that board. This is an important topic. We appreciate the board's time and attention to this matter and look forward to hearing from you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Cole, 57 DeYoung Road, on a completely different subject than you expect. I wanted to speak briefly in support of the board's consideration and evaluation of returning to a committee system and addressing comment earlier. In the 10 years that I was on the Board of Ed, 3 years as president, we always ran a committee system. The president assigned the members of the committee. I would argue that the president is not over-empowered in doing that because they are limited in selection to 9 people who were voted in by the public. Of course, a good president seeks input from the trustees to consider expertise and interest, but I salute and support you for considering that, whichever way you go.
Thank you.
Good evening. So this is Shilpa Mehta, 19 Woodville Road, Glen Rock. I think it's been a long day. I would keep it short. So again, I'm a STEM parent. Both my kids into robotics programs, and it would really take at least an hour to explain and express what we think, where we are with these kids. And I don't need to express more how important it is to have robotics and hands-on STEM in the current world that we are all living in and the future world that is coming up to these kids. I honestly believe it would take another hour, and I really do not want to take additional time today, but I would want to understand, as a parent coming from the robotics team, if there would be some time that the board can discuss about how we are going to shape up if the robotics teacher is stepping out, what could be a course of correction, what could be a course of action, because I'm representing, not only me, Juan, and a couple of others who have left, are representing almost 70, if not less, parents and 70, if not less, kids, both middle school and high school. So Mr. Locatell was not only representing high school robotics program, but alone this teacher was supporting both middle school as well as high school. In my opinion, he was doing probably 3 jobs at the same time. So again, I'm not prepared well enough to talk about what are the reasons he could be leaving. God bless him, and more power to him. But as a community and as a great town that I've seen, I've been living here for 13 years, we definitely need to have a good plan in action and do our best in either retaining or finding another teacher so that our kids have continued growth and future. I would like to understand what are our action items before this curriculum year ends, if that is even a possibility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alex Schaefer, and I live at 21 Holtz Court. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for your service. I know everyone's had a long day. I know I was at Mr. Van Nest's office this morning, so I know we've been here for a very long time. I just wanted to say that I'm asking that we as a town, and you as our leadership, look more deeply into the policies and procedures that govern our students and the decisions that are made for them. So my hope is that we can reevaluate how policies are written, like the appeals process and the code of conduct, and many others that are open to interpretation by those who enforce them with such rigidity that can often be detrimental to our children's well-being. So I know that we, like as the board, you're the ones who are making these rules, and I think that it's time that we started evaluating how they're being interpreted and enforced. I'm one of many Glen Rock families to engage with the administration in good faith and continue to be met with the same single rationale, taking no new information into consideration. I feel the frustration of the Meltzers, and there's a lot of other families that have been meeting together about this. I think it's important that it's brought to your attention how policies are being executed, and I'm hoping that we can all come to find a middle ground and do something about this disconnect with the community and the administration. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Sue Triforest, 11 Forest Road. I just wanted to thank you all very much for your vote this evening for the Central School, Hawkins Central School vote. All of your votes as board members are important votes. Everything you do up here has an impact on the community. And this is a beautiful one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. It's 10:22, seeing nobody else. I will close the second public comments. Sorry, my voice, I'm like losing it. So there was a few things that came up over the course of your comments. There was a question about a two-vote process. That was very, very specific to a naming policy and how we wrote the naming policy to make sure that, if there was such a big change, like with specifically renaming a school, that we did it that way. That it doesn't apply to anything else. There was a question about, or maybe a comment about the long-range facility plan, or just looking at infrastructure for the school infrastructure. That has been an active and ongoing process, which is how we arrived here with getting the report from the architect on Friday. So it takes a substantial amount of time for the architect, the company, to come through and take a look at all the facilities and prepare estimates and reports. And it is a process that we started, I believe, last school year. Yeah, we started that process last school year, and it's something that is an ongoing process, as we're required to update the LRFP, or long-range facility plan, every 5 years, I believe. Yeah, so we are at the 5-year mark, and we are well on the way to finding out about the priorities and take decisive action from there. With regards to committees and president selections, I know one of the last members, Mr. Cole, just spoke a bit about his experience being on the board, but any of the presidents, whether it's past or future, do have the charge of assessing the requests of the board and taking a look at the different committee structure and making the appropriate assignments based on either request or aligning talents. And I think that it is important that whoever any board chooses is someone that, the board feels would best represent the interests overall of the board as well as the community. So I always hope that that's what I am doing here. I'm always seeking to do that. And anybody that comes after me, if I happen to be on the board in the future, I would vote for a president who would have that same desire. So that's the responsibility of the board, to install the leadership that would inspire success for the community and our students and our staff. I think that covers most of it. That's it. All right, so it is late at 10:25. I just need a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting. Mr. Corey, seconded by Mr. Hayward. All those in favor?
Are we going back into closed?
Yes. All right. Before we do that, yes, we are going to go back into closed, but no vote. There's no voting items specifically. What happened? Yeah, no action. 1 second. Yeah, no action will be taken. All right. Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Corey and a second by Dr. Pucci-Bender. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.